Welcome back for game 4 here from Oak Hill. About a half an hour ago, Alan Lewis conducted the toss.
Welcome to the fourth in the Arachas T20 Women's Interprovincial Series. I'm joined here by Kevin Gallagher, the match referee, Laura Delaney, the captain of the Typhoons, and Gabby Lewis, captain of the Scorchers. You toss, Kevin?
Tails. Ahead. We'll have a bat, please.
You'll have a bat. Laura. And your reasons again for batting, Laura?
Yeah, look, we would have liked to have put more runs on the board in the first game, so now we have another opportunity to go out there and do this in game 2.
And you struggled a little bit in the power play early.
Yeah.
Any sort of change you might like to see in that period of the match?
Yeah, we've changed our batting order. So Lily Little is going to open up with Rebecca Stokel, and Mary Waldron will shift down to 5. So yeah, hopefully we can not lose as many wickets in the power play, but be equally as aggressive.
And you must have been delighted with the performance of Georgina Dempsey.
Yeah, brilliant. I think Regina's getting better game on game. Batting wise, she has so much to offer, and bowling wise, I think she's only starting to show a glimpse of what she's capable of. So an exciting time for her.
And your team remains the same, unchanged?
Yeah, unchanged, yeah.
Well, all the best, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gabby, you must have been delighted with the victory. Kind of dragged over the line a little.
Yes, obviously we had put in a good bowling performance. I think our fielding let us down in parts, but fair play to Leopold. She stuck at it. Struggled a bit early, but she stuck at it and played her shots when she got into it. So.
And of course the introduction of Laura Moritz really upped the tempo of the chase, because it was difficult at one period.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously we faced a few dot balls at the start, and I think that's something that Leah does well. She rotates the strike, and Lara's well able to put away the bad ball, and she hit really well straight, which was brilliant.
And does your team remain unchanged?
It does, yeah.
It does. All the best
Thank
for
you.
the afternoon. So that concludes the toss. The Typhoons have won the toss again and have chosen to bat. Well, there you have it. On a beautiful sunny afternoon in Oak Hill. First game won comfortably by the Scorchers in the end. Really, 96 was never enough. And apart from a wobble midway through the innings, Laura Moritz and Leopold, who saw the game through to a finish, to a comfortable 7-wicket victory. Probably, Gareth, that power play was the bit that really killed the Typhoons.
Yeah, less than 20 runs in your first 6 overs for 3 wickets down. You're never really going to be able to get a score on the board to win, so they'll be looking to rectify that now in the second game here.
And you must have been impressed with Georgina Dempsey's effort.
Yeah, she looked very good, especially against the spin. She took the attack to the 2 spinners of the Scorchers and put them under a lot of pressure.
And were you in any way surprised with Laura Delaney's option to bat again? It's probably correct a couple of things.
Yeah, suppose it's a used wicket now, so maybe they're thinking get the best out of it now before the last innings. Sun's been out now, so hopefully it might be a little bit easier to bat, and they come out with a bit more confidence and intent in the first 6 overs here than they did in the previous game.
And we're hearing of a change in the batting order. Lulu Little is going to come up top, replacing Mary Waldron, it would seem, which is an interesting change about, and perhaps a declaration of intent.
Yeah, Lulu Little obviously very aggressive and attacking player, so it seems a positive move from the Typhoons, and hopefully it pays off for them.
Yes, it's all set fair here. Beautiful afternoon, as the forecasters predicted, in the most beautiful of cricketing venues you could ever imagine. It really is something to behold here. Man-made cricket ground, pavilion in the shape of Ampleforth College. Proprietor here, of course, the great horse owner and horse breeder Peter Saville, who must be delighted with the outcome, and certainly all cricketers around Ireland who've witnessed or played a game here. It's one of the most beautiful places to play. The only thing I would say, Gareth, if you've played here, the one part of it which is demanding is you invariably have to chase the ball down hills when it's hit to the boundary. I would have suggested to Peter perhaps moving that picket fence all the way around the ground would save us a couple of hours retrieving balls when someone like you's hitting them out of the park. So we're all set as the umpires make their way to the middle. Steve Wood and Paul Reynolds. Paul Reynolds had an eventful first game, didn't he? They were attacking him with throws. He was asked to make most decisions that had to be given out there.
Yeah, didn't seem to need to raise his finger too often. But never know, it might change now in the second game.
Well, he's a very good umpire, Paul Reynolds, and has made his way to the international fold. And Steve Wood, an equally good umpire, and it's a skill that is so needed when it's done well and properly in cricket. They're such a valuable commodity, and it's most interesting in actual fact with the introduction of DRS in the international system. Just prove how good most of the top class umpires are in what is a very difficult business for anyone who has attempted to umpire. It's not easy when you're asked to concentrate in that front line, and bowlers you might be facing bowling at mid-80s, 90 miles an hour guard, and then you have to make a decision at the other end. So I think we just have to take our hats off to those that are at the top level, because they're very, very good. So no surprise too, Gareth. Hannah Little, who bowled ever so well in the first game, our 4 overs, going at only 2.25 an over, but her great attribute was she kept the ball up to the bat. And again, much the same field as before. Gabby Lewis, only 3 on the leg side, square leg in. Often you see that back, but nice to see someone who has the ability to bowl to 6-3 early on in the innings. And it's Stokel who'll face the first ball from Hannah Little. Oh, that's a real after lunch delivery, I'd say. We got treated to most magnificent of curries here. I don't know whether you sampled it, Gareth, but it was outstanding.
Yeah, it was very nice tandoori chicken.
Tandoori chicken. I've had a call from the back of the field, but it was very, very tasty.
Yeah. Bit wayward there from Hannah to start, but she'll be looking to get back onto it and continue her good form from earlier in the day.
She's up to the bat again.
I think the Typhoons can be more aggressive though this time. I think they kind of lacked that intent in the first game. It is tough when you do lose a wicket or two, because you obviously can't afford to lose too many in the power play, but you've got to put the bowlers under pressure here and now.
Well, certainly Claire Shillington, the Typhoons coach, had her team sitting around her for 20 minutes after the first game, and I'm sure that was one of the talking points, particularly Stokel, who's shown that in the international game, expanding her game down the ground.
More than capable of clearing the ropes here, Rebecca, so hopefully she can give herself a chance. And then,
and I suppose the other thing, us as commentators, Gareth, we crave a good finish to a game, and often T20 cricket, for as much as it is designed to give us excitement, some of the games can falter to a very drab conclusion, so hopefully not on this occasion. Little juicy half volley, sisterly love there. Hannah Little, of course, to Lulu Little, who's been promoted up the order, has been going well in both domestic club cricket and also 50 over format. Sadly, she's had a very good bowler is Lulu Little. She's had a stress fracture in her back, which hopefully she'll get over. Must be quite odd bowling to your sister.
yeah, well, I've obviously never had to do it in. Or actually, no, I did do it once in a game. It was an underage game to her. But yeah, I suppose they'll be both very competitive here, so Hannah will obviously be looking to get Lulu out.
Again, Rebecca Stokel looking to go over long on there. That mustn't have missed the off stump by much, Gareth.
Yeah, I don't think you mind that though from Rebecca, showing the intent. Obviously, just nipped away at the last second there, saved her, but I think it's better anyway from Rebecca. It's the approach she's got to take. If it's in her area, then she's got to back herself to hit it.
It's funny, you don't see too much early on of, again, the women just advancing down the pitch, getting themselves leg side of the ball to look to club it over the infield straight. That's an interesting one too, Gav. Did your sister kind of second you out to the back garden to throw her some balls and all that sort of stuff?
Maybe not out to the back garden, but yeah, she's definitely, it's an area that she's tried to work on, has improved greatly over the last year, trying to add the shot over the top, especially to the spinners, for herself. But yeah, her strength is usually through the covers and backward point. So
I think it's one area you could actually have a real bit of fun if you were practicing. You know, again, so many, say as an example, artificial hockey pitches with big fences around them. You could have a little bit of fun with it, you know, to see who could clear that fence, you know, shimmying down the wicket, trying to hold your shape, because that's one of the things, if you are hitting down the ground, just that ability to hold your shape, get the right type of timing, ball in the middle of the bat.
part of cricket I find the most fun anyway, and I think a lot of people do. Obviously, it's obviously harder to do it than it is said, but yeah, you just need to keep practicing it a lot and just get the confidence in it.
I think that's the key word, Gareth. Practicing it is the key word. It just kind of moves into nearly something like a memory. Again, something...
Especially in the women's game where you are only allowed 4 out, there is always that gap. Usually either mid-off stays up while somebody else in the leg side goes, so it is an area that is usually left open.
There's going to be runs there. Hannah Little chasing this, and Lulu going. She obviously... Ooh, this could be very close. Oh! She was gone for all money if that had hit. A good piece of fielding from Hannah Little. Shauna Kavanagh sure that was going to hit the stumps. It was always going to be a dangerous 2, that wasn't it, Gareth?
Yeah, a bit risky that, just left outside the 30-yard circle, and yeah, gone by a metre at least if she'd hit directly. The running wasn't the greatest in the first game. I think there were at least 2 run-outs, if not more, so can learn from the Scorchers than how they ran, especially Lara Moritz putting the fielders under pressure. Even if there wasn't a chance of 2, she made sure she gave it every chance.
Well, particularly for the 2s. Couldn't agree with you more.
Very economical over this by Leopold.
Yeah, it's something that we talked about earlier. The one area I think that could be an improvement with the slower bowlers is just getting the pace of it right, Gareth, because it's certainly something I identified in the Dutch series. They used to just sit back and wait on the back foot and plunder it through the leg side. Some big hitting.
Length is crucial, as you say. It's all right throwing the ball up with a little slower pace. If it's full, you can entice the batter into a shot, but if you're not quite full enough, as you say, you can just sit back and smash the ball wherever you want.
Well, it's more this emphasis on bowling the ball rather than, I don't wish to be in any way patronized, but lobbing it and
Still trying to
get that spin it, exactly, and get that dip.
Yeah.
If you can get it, and I think it's an area that I'm sure the coaching staff will be looking at. And it was something, it'll be interesting to see when Cara Murray is called on to bowl, will she change an element of that, because certainly throughout the 50 over series, you know, her general control and pace was excellent, whereas having not played for a number of weeks, just probably happy just to get it there as opposed to bowling the ball. It was something always emphasised to us, as I'm sure even you as a leg spinner, you've just got to get through your action, and probably more particularly for you, Gareth, that little bit of in dip. And that's an excellent shot from Rebecca Stokel, just catching it on the full, but the great value in getting it straight past the non-striker, and it was always going to be 4. Very good shot from Stokel, and that's an area that, again, latterly in her international career, she's profited on hugely. Excellent shot.
Very strong down the ground. It's good again by Stokel, whips it into the leg side.
It's actually a measure too, Gareth. The outfield is actually quite long, and there's been a number of situations. We certainly saw one in the earlier game, Emma Richardson, a ball that we certainly thought was going to go for 4, just stalling to the boundary rope. They only ended up getting 1. So it's just an indication just how slow the outfield is, and going aerial will be to your advantage. Oh, that's a cracking shot. One of the shots of the day, Gareth.
Yeah, much better intent here from Rebecca Stokel in these first few overs here. Just a little bit too much width from Little there, and Rebecca's able to throw her hands through it. And great shot.
Super shot. Very pleasing on the eye, that from Stokel. Should be delighted with that. It's always lovely to get one of those juicy half volleys, but to put it away, find the gap, 4 runs.
That's what happens when you do put the bowler under pressure. When you try to be aggressive, they get nervous themselves and give you those bad balls that you find you can put away more easily.
Well, as we can see here, probably in this over alone, Hannah Little has gone for more than she did in 4 this morning. That's good fielding again from Moritz. Very interesting fielding style, Laura Moritz, is something I commented. She tends to go down early on her knees, get something behind it, retrieve it, get it in. But it's very effective, and she's very good at extra cover.
Probably missed out in a single there.
I think you're absolutely right, Gareth. I think that was more watching the shot. I think when you've got your mid on and mid off at the edge of the circle, and of course we've got to remember, Gareth, in the women's game it's a 25-metre circle as opposed to a 30-metre circle. It's often something that intrigues me in terms of early on in innings, even in the men's game. You're kind of in no man's land if you're at the edge of the circle. You're neither there to challenge a potential run out, certainly not from that type of position. If someone takes off immediately, I probably did miss a run there. You're absolutely right. So much better start. 18 without loss now at the end of the 3rd over. HBV Studios managing director has gone asleep on me in the front of the booth here. Common thread for Mr. Heatley Tector, for those of you who know him well, the Lord Mayor of Cricket in Ireland. Heatley Tector always likes an afternoon snooze. For those of you who don't remember, he used to have a Shay Long in his office. He'd put the blinds down. Don't disturb me for 20 minutes now, thank you. As he had a little nap, get himself back in the groove. Master of the power nap is our Heatley Tector. It's interesting again, isn't it, Gareth? There's no pace on the ball, no 45. Emma Richardson in front of square at square leg.
She anticipates the ball very well, Emer, though, especially in the last game on Mary Waldron, who tends to play the ball behind square. She'd see Mary go down early, and before the ball's even released, Emer's already running to fine leg to cut it off. So probably the one fielder you do want there covering the big open space. Interesting to see if Rebecca takes Leopold on here, if she'll come down the track and try and hit her over the top.
Again, I think the intent was there, but she went very early, Gareth, didn't she?
Yeah.
And I think Leah Paul spotted that. And it's given her a great day. Of course, they're club mates together in Merrion, Rebecca Stokel and Leah Paul.
Yeah.
So
Threw
it was
that
just
one
a
in
little,
quicker there anyway. Saw her coming.
and a little bit telegraphed.
It's the risk you take in T20 cricket, unfortunately. Some days it pays off, but
Some days not, and it's not today for Rebecca Stokel. She's gone. She's been bowled by Leah Paul for 11 from 11, and promised very well early on, Rebecca Stokel, so she'll be disappointed with that. But hats off to Leah Paul. That was an excellent piece of bowling from her. Saw her coming, fired it in that little bit quicker. And it brings captain of the Typhoons, Laura Delaney, of course, sister of Gareth, who's beside me. I'm sure we'll be willing her on. Disappointingly run out in the first game, Laura, and of course captain of the Irish team and a great ambassador for the women's game in Ireland, Laura Delaney. And you kind of sense an innings from Laura will be pivotal in this match, Gareth.
yeah, especially with the form that she's in lately, she'll won't have been too happy anyway about the first innings. But good start here. Hopefully she'll come back for two here. It's good running, good way to start your innings.
Very good, and of course that's a big area for Laura. She likes pace on the ball, get that ball away square of the wicket on the offside. A real heavy scoring area for her.
Tends to back away slightly to the leg side to give herself the room to use the hands.
She always has that forceful call when she beats the field. Have you noticed that?
She's always
Is
very
it?
loud. She does scream it out. Ever since a young age, she's always done it.
General level of excitement, but she's going nicely.
Good start. Need to capitalise now in the next 2 overs if they can. I know they've just lost a wicket, but still need to make use of the fielding restrictions. Change your bowling here, is it? Lara Moritz into the attack now for the Scorchers.
Again, she's had a very good season. I think Lara has benefited hugely from 2 seasons, of course, in Australia, where, you know, she's certainly gained a yard of pace, but she's bowling with a far greater degree of control, which is the one thing that I've noticed, and she's added a very reasonable bouncer to her armoury.
Very impressive. Attacks the stumps, doesn't give too much width to the batter, so she's always in the game. But I suppose from the Typhoons' point of view, the extra pace on the ball might help them to get it away. So
And she has that habit of just spearing it in too. She kind of swings it in a wee bit, just the way her action is. Oh, that's a very good shot. Excellent shot from Lulu Little. That's clever. Really, really clever, that. Don't see a huge amount of that shot. We see a lot of it in the men's game, but that's excellently executed by Lulu Little.
just guides down to third man. That's where the extra pace comes in, of course, there, that you can play those types of shots with Lara's pace. So might be the only thing the Scorchers have to worry about.
Good reply from Moritz. Full. And that's where she needs to be. This pitch is certainly assisting those that are that bit fuller. And she was right on the money there, Laura Moritz.
Seems to be a lot happier Lulu Little with the pace on the ball.
I think it's something they all are, and I think we spoke about that earlier. If there was one area I think if they were all collectively to come together, you know, and practice anything. And I know they have camps down here over the next couple of weeks, would be that whole area of range hitting. Which you spoke about earlier, Gareth, in terms of expanding your own game, and to know that you have it in your armoury is such a benefit. That's a good over from Moritz. Apart from that boundary, she bowled it very well. And I'm saying bye-bye for the time being to Gareth Delaney. And I'm going to be joined for the next 5 overs by Harry Tector.
Hello, Louis.
Hello, Harry.
Good to be back.
Nice to have you back.
The sun's shining.
Can't beat a beautiful day in Oak Hill with the sunshine, can you?
You're right there. And Leopold's bowling beautifully here.
She's had a good day so far, Leopold,
She
hasn't
has had
she?
a good day, yeah.
It's funny, we were commenting earlier, Harry, you know, when that ball is tossed up and in the air, there's a certain number of the players, that lack of intent to maybe get down the pitch, look to get inside it a wee bit.
She's a canny bowler, Leah, isn't she? She seemed to do Rebecca Stokel in the flight, beat her on the inside edge, I think. She's enticing them. Her and Gabby Lewis are enticing them to hit over the top. Laura Delaney, she likes using her feet. She's very comfortable. She used her feet facing her first ball in the first game, so it's definitely a strength of hers. We saw that against Holland as well.
Is there any area here, if you were looking to maybe restrict Laura Delaney a wee bit, that you'd made any alteration to that field that Gabby Lewis has set?
I actually like this field because it means Laura has to play across the line to score a boundary, particularly through the leg side. She's got 2 points there, and that's definitely a strength of Laura's, cutting the ball. So the only change I could potentially make to Laura is I'd maybe put mid-off back and mid-on up, because she seems to favour the extra cover mid-off region, particularly hitting with the turn. I think that might be a easier shot for her than hitting against the spin over mid-on.
Yeah, interesting. And one of the things I was thinking of is, if you, obviously Gabby Lewis is at long on, you pushed her that little bit wider for the ball that you drag, and maybe bring your mid-wicket in the eye line to maybe prevent that, you know, just create that eye line pressure on Delaney getting one easily down there.
She varies her pace very nicely, Leah, doesn't she? One push through and then the next one tossed up. It's hard as a batter to sort of line her up, and I think that's what did for Rebecca Stokel, maybe slightly premeditated coming down the wicket, and she just pushed it through, and that's why she's been such an effective bowler this year. She's been excellent.
She really has. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Harry. She's been excellent, and her cricket has improved month by month, and that innings today will have done her the power of good, because obviously she opens a lot in 50 over cricket where she can accumulate. She's got a good temperament. But I was only saying with Gareth off, when you were off air, that if there was one area that I think they could really work on for the next month, is having a bit of fun maybe in practice, and a bit of range hitting straight down the ground, particularly to slower bowlers. Maybe get the machines on and have a bit of fun with it too.
She's the type of cricketer you want in your team, I think, Leah, isn't she? She's very energetic in the field, a good fielder, and particularly with the cricket the women have coming up, she's the type of cricketer you want in a tough situation to knuckle down and win your games. Innings is like the one she played in the first game. They're what you need in those tournaments.
Well, she's a good anticipator too, as seen there. She's got cricket nous. She stays calm. She's Plays with a smile on her face, which is a great attribute to any team. It's the sort of person, obviously allowing for ability, and I'm sure you as captain, when you have those type of people in your team, Harry, they're a pleasure to captain.
So well by Lara Moritz there. Do you think third man's very wide to Laura Delaney? Do you think that's because she's so strong on the cut? We saw one in Lara's previous over, and Nick wasn't that fine a Nick that went very easily for four, and it being so short straight and bigger wide, do you think they could potentially move her maybe 10 or 15 yards to her left?
I would be massively in favour of that. And I think it's a kind of a, for me, it's a kind of a bad ball position. You're kind of caught between two stools, because again, if Laura Delaney with the pace in the ball, she's an excellent cutter of the ball. If she gets that wide of Leah Paul, it's going to race to the boundary. And again, mostly what you're there for would be something that does go that little bit finer. You're in a genuine third man position, and I think it's just better because you can actually move your point that little bit square. And Leah Paul, now that's an attempted slower ball, Harry. I think she's just been a little bit unlucky there.
Yeah, I think back to that point, one of the best bits of advice I ever got from William Porterfield about fielding at point was that you're not there to stop the bad balls. You know, if it's a bad ball, let it get hit past you, but you're there to cut off singles and try and make runouts. You know, and if the bowler bowls a bad ball, it's not your fault if it gets hit past you, but you're there to stop the one that they might just drop down into third man or drop into the covers and try and sneak one. That's your main objective, and if you stop that bad ball, great, but that's not your primary job, you know.
And if you're anticipating in that position, which again, if you're square of the wicket, it was a funny one. And again, when you, oh my goodness me, that's just lazy cricket, Harry. No more, no less. And that's the easiest of chances that's been spilt by Emma Richardson. Comfortable catch.
She just didn't move.
Whether she thought it was coming quicker to her, but there was no real movement at all. And a good piece of bowling. It was something I spoke about earlier again when you were off air. Laura Moritz has got a little one that she hurries through quicker, and you can get it on the splice of the bat. It's something that we see a lot of in, you know, men's T20 cricket, that ability to bang the ball into the pitch. If you can get someone half spliced, you have a chance of getting a catch on the boundary.
She bowled beautifully there. She definitely deserved a wicket. She was all over the Typhoons batters there in that over. She looked gutted there. Rightfully so.
I don't think you'd have been happy if you were the bowler, Harry, would you?
No. I think my old self, Louis, when I was a bit younger, might have said a word or two to Emma Richardson there.
I think there could have been a spray.
That's a good stop there. Definitely saved the boundary, I think. Lara Moritz there at extra cover.
Well, the only way Emma Richardson can make up for that, she's got the ball in her hand now. Job to do. But Laura Delaney would be thanking her lucky stars, because that was a dolly.
Square leg comes up to Laura Delaney. Long off goes back. Call is 2, but I don't think she's going to get back for that. That's well fielded.
Much better pace, Emma Richardson's bowling here, would you agree?
Yeah. I think she's always best when she's trying to bowl into the wicket a little bit more than sort of floating it up. Particularly on a wicket like this, it seems to be like it will give you a bit of purchase if you bowl it into the wicket.
I'm just commenting to Laura's brother. There's a very energetic yes from Laura Delaney when she's pushing one.
Oh, that's brilliant fielding. She's a live wire at extra cover, isn't she, Lara Moritz? That's top class work.
fantastic piece of fielding. And again, we spoke earlier, that's again another area Ireland's fielding, and probably the hallmark of just a much younger team, Harry. Oh, that's a very, very good catch. Ashley King out there, it appears to me. We're quite a distance away, but that was a brilliant catch. Really was. Made ground, got under it comfortably, and for anyone watching how to take an outfield catch, there's one of the best examples you could get. Eye on the ball, steadied herself. Brilliant piece of work.
Yeah, she made that look very easy, Louis, didn't she? The sun would have been in her eyes as well. It went right up, and she made that look very easy. Got set under it early and made a tough catch look very easy, and that's what the good fielders do.
Absolutely. And again, a lot of practice goes into those sorts of things. But Lulu Little was beginning to get going there. She'll be a little bit disappointed. Probably the right move to get her up the order. And it brings the vastly experienced Cecilia Joyce to the wicket.
Yeah, she adds a lot to this Typhoons side, even if she's not scoring runs all the time. You know, they have a lot of young players in their side, the Typhoons, and just having a player of her experience around them and advising them along with Laura Delaney, that sort of experience, it can't be underestimated, you know, and she'll be passing on all of her knowledge from her long Irish career onto them, and she's a great addition to this side.
I think what's most important too in those situations, Harry, is a younger player that you can have a comfort in going to some of these more experienced players and just be a sponge for information. You know, you mentioned William Porterfield there earlier. No better giver in the game than that man. Absolute legend of the Irish game in every way. Player, fielder, ambassador, everything. And I'm sure you're leaning on a lot of words of experience that he's had to say, and it was interesting what you're talking there about point fielding.
Yeah, I think that's the most, like, particularly with William, you know, he's such a brilliant cricket mind, and I think as a young player in any team, you're always, particularly the like young women playing on this side, they'd be a bit nervous of Cecilia Joyce, I'm sure, because they would have looked up to her for so long, and that was certainly the case with me when I came into the Irish team, and you almost don't want to say something wrong or stupid, and but they'd never think that, you know, and you should always try and tap that fountain of knowledge, because they have so much experience and knowledge of playing in different conditions and scenarios, and you know, they're always so keen to pass that on. You just have to get over the fact that you might be a bit nervous of them, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and it often depends on the personality too, but certainly watching that second ODI, you seem to be enjoying yourself at square cover that day, huh?
Yeah, well, it's something I've worked really hard on over the years, and like, I don't know, I feel like my fielding is different than my batting. I can quickly lose my confidence in the field if I drop a catch or something, whereas I get a few low scores with the bat, I'd never get too worried. That's a lovely whole shot from Cecilia Joyce there. Much more controlled than Laura Delaney's in the previous over.
That would have been... Oh, she's gone. She's gone. In fact, she looked to be struggling there. I was amazed, and she had to do a big dive at the end to get in, but she is gone. Paul Reynolds at square leg. Brilliant throw from the deep, and again she knew she was struggling. Don't know whether her bat was in the air or what, but she's gone. Cecilia Joyce is out. Run out.
Just when we're heaping her praises for her pull shot as well. But the outfielding today in general has been really good. The standard of throwing and fielding has been excellent. That's another great example of by Hannah Little, I think, down there at fine leg.
Oh, it was a brilliant piece of fielding by Hannah Little. Great arm, great throw. So accurate. And again, in those types of situations, a foot either side of the wicket-keeper and she was in, but it was with pinpoint accuracy. And in the end, Joyce knew she was struggling. And that's 3 wickets down. 40 now for 3. Coming to the end of the 9th over, Harry, and they've been impressive so far, the Scorchers.
Yeah, they have been, and it's always difficult to back it up, particularly straight after another game, to get back up for it and warm up again and go through all that rigmarole. And it can be difficult, and they've come out on the money from ball one, and the pressure's on Mary Waldron here. She opened the batting in the last game, and she'll be under pressure to build a partnership now with Laura Delaney.
Yeah, certainly struggled a wee bit in opening up in the previous game, so it'll be interesting to see how Mary responds. No, that looked to be a bit leg side. Optimistic, Laura.
I really like this from the Scorchers. I like seeing teams go for wickets in T20 cricket. I think it's the best way to try and save runs, is to try and take wickets and put pressure on new batters and force them to hit good shots, and then you can put the field out. But until they do that, try and put them under pressure, and they seem to do that. They only had 2 men out there, Mary Waldron's first ball in the 9th over, so there's something really, really good to see.
It'll be interesting to see possibly what Gabby Lewis will do if there's pace off the ball. She was trying a number of these shovel shots, scoops with no pace on the ball, really. I kind of thought to myself, would you maybe consider a leg gully, Harry?
Were you much of a scooper back in the day?
Not really. We didn't know the word scoop. The only scoop I had was in an ice cream parlour.
Or in Mulligan's.
Or in Mulligan's, correct. There was no Mulligan's, it was O'Reilly's Beer Garden. Have many scoops and all that. That's a very good call. I don't know why I went for ice cream parlour there. Ice cream parlour for a scoop. But you'd have the gallon of scoops down O'Reilly's of a Saturday night after the game.
The dirty dozen.
The dirty dozen, well. I'm really liking how Emma Richardson has changed here, bowling with much better pace and control, wicket to wicket, much more challenging, and it's good from her. She might have to explain to us afterwards that catch, Harold.
Well, she'll be hoping it won't cost them. Laura Delaney is such a talented player, and she'll be hoping that she doesn't add much more to her score, because that could be a very costly drop.
Touch of the David Millers, you might have.
Well, I think that chance was slightly more difficult than the one earlier.
It certainly was. That's well bowled. Much, much better. Much more energy and bounce into the wicket as well, Harry, and you can see that momentum coming in much better.
You can see the pressure here they're putting on her. Both men up straight, both women up straight. And that's a really good shot from Mary Waldron. Just getting head into the ball and helping the ball behind square. It's a good sweep shot because she was under pressure there. We see the replay here. Yeah, going down the leg side and just helping it along its way and spinning round past the fielder at deep square leg.
Well, she looked to hit it hard, Harry. That was the key difference.
100%. Yeah, I don't think against a bowler like Emma Richardson, where even at her flattest pace, there's still not that pace on the ball where you're going to get the value for shots. Lapping the ball behind square, particularly with the outfield as slow as it is. So I think looking to hit the ball hard is where the value lies. That's good running from Mary Waldron there.
That's a good over from Emma Richardson. In fairness, okay, one boundary, but good effort from the Scorchers here. 48 for 3 from 10 overs, and I'm going to be replaced in the commentary box by the ever alert now Heatley Tector.
Hello, Father.
Hello, son. So 10 overs gone, midway through the first innings. 48 for 3. Your thoughts, Harry?
Yeah, I think the game is certainly in the balance. Laura Delaney definitely holds the key for the Typhoons to get them up to a competitive total.
It's a good shot. That's a really good shot by Laura. You talked about Laura being the key, and that's the reason why you uttered those words. Super shot there from the skipper.
Yeah, that was pretty emphatic, wasn't it? And looking to hit that a lot more. She was dropped at mid-wicket a couple overs previous to a similar delivery, and she rolled with that. It was a little bit straighter and she hit it beautifully. That's a better length from Lara Moritz there.
I heard you talking earlier there about the key role that Lara Moritz now plays, not just for the Scorchers but indeed for the Irish side now. She's a pivotal member of that side.
Yeah, she's a big cog in the wheel, bat, ball and in the field. And that's really good fielding there at mid-on. Good cricket all round. And yeah, I think at the likes of Lara and Leah Paul and, you know, those fielders in the ring, they play such an important role to the energy of the Irish team and the Scorchers team, and you know that sort of energy, it can't be underestimated in the field, and the lift it gives to the bowlers, and you know that's going to be crucial for both the Scorchers and for Ireland going forward.
Absolutely. Lara Moritz from the pavilion end, in she comes. It's a full ball, it's a big appeal. Umpire Steve Wood just walks away. Signals a leg by to our scorers. Two excellent scorers here today, Judy Cohen and Angela Mooney.
There was a lot of bat on that.
Thought so.
Because if it was leg buys, I think it was pretty close. Oh, that's a beautiful delivery.
That is an absolute corker of a delivery. You'll see that back here now in a minute, Harry.
Yeah,
Lara Moritz really getting no more than she deserves. You'll see this here.
Oh, you can't bowl a better delivery. She bowled one similar in the first game, angled in with a little bit of shape away, and that's beaten the Ireland skipper all ends up there. That's a beautiful delivery, and that's a key wicket for the Scorchers. She was looking dangerous, Laura Delaney, but she departs for 14 off 20 balls bowled by Lara Moritz.
Yep, and Georgina Dempsey makes her way to the middle now. And how impressive was she in the first game here today?
Oh, she was fabulous, wasn't she? And I think what it showed was the power of, you know, intent and looking to score. And, you know, she did. She absorbed a few dot balls early on in her innings. She was 4 off 10 balls, but really got into her work, particularly against the spin, you know, looking to use her feet and hit straight. And it showed that, you know, you can get runs. She scored 35 off 31 balls, and with a bit of intent and looking to hit the ball straight, you know, this is a good pitch and you will get rewarded for good shots. But there's a lot of pressure riding on the Typhoons innings on Georgina and Mary Waldron to build a partnership here and get them up to a defendable total.
Georgina Dempsey about to face her first delivery. A big cry of ooh. Splendid over that from Lara. Terrific stuff from the Scorchers. 54 for 4 now. Mary Waldron on 5 not out. Georgina yet to get off the mark. One of the things I wanted to mention, and got to pay the highest compliments to Cricket Ireland, is the Women's All-Ireland T20 competition this year, the inaugural All-Ireland, and we know that Pembroke will be representing the province of Leinster. They beat Marion in a thrilling cup final there a couple of weeks ago, and we await to see who they will play. Obviously, be the winners of the Northwest versus the NCU region. But I think it's a brilliant initiative on the part of Cricket Ireland.
Yeah, it's a great step in the right direction, and it's brilliant to encourage the club game in all unions. It's something that's been done for a long time in the men's game, and you know it's a brilliant incentive for all the clubs and all the unions to you know win their league and go on and try and be All Ireland champions. And I think any form of growth in the game is brilliant.
It's nicely played. It's a good shot by Waldron. There should be two. There is two. Comfortable two.
It's an interesting field they've set to Mary Waldron, isn't it? 3 out on the leg side with mid-on up and a 45. It looks like they're trying to defend her sweep shot, but it's an interesting one. I'm not sure how they're really trying to get her out.
That's well bowled. Beautifully bowled there from Emma Richardson.
She's in a nice spell here, Emma Richardson, isn't she?
She certainly is that.
I think that's what the change in field might do there. We've just seen Mary Waldron try and work it into the leg side. And, you know, that brings in the leading edge or an LBW to a straighter delivery.
Exactly as you said, just pushes it through the vacant mid-wicket area there for a single.
It'll be interesting to see what field they set for Georgina. She used her feet so effectively in the first game, particularly hitting through mid-off and extra cover. It'll be interesting to see if they protect that region or they say go on and hit it. But no, look, they've sent mid-off back on through.
Georgina will certainly be very keen to follow up her splendid knock in the game of earlier today. Richardson, in she comes, just patted back to her. Been a very good over for the Scorchers this, just the 3 off the over to date. In comes Richardson. No run. Excellent over. 12 overs gone. The Typhoons are 57 now for the loss of 4 wickets.
What do you think Power's score is here, Heatley?
Yeah, I
position?
was just thinking of that there a few minutes ago. I would have thought you would be saying to yourself the Typhoons would want to be looking at 110, 115.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot depends on this partnership, and we saw the value in the first game of trying to keep wickets in hand, because you can score it 8 and over, 10 and over towards that back end if you do have wickets in hand. But it's a big next 3 overs. If these two can bat to 15, going at 5 or 6 and over, and then look to push on with wickets in hand, definitely up to 110 or 115 is certainly within reach. They're bringing Ashley King back on,
She's been so impressive all year, really. Certainly the quickest of the bowlers on view today. Hitting her straps immediately. Nicely run down to third man there.
Yeah, this is a big moment in the game now, because she's definitely a strike bowler for the Scorchers, bowler of her pace and accuracy, so you feel like her coming on now, if she can go bang bang and get 2 quick wickets, the Typhoons will be in all sorts of trouble. So it's a massive moment in the game. Good shot for no runs there.
Yeah.
Hit hard at backward point.
Certainly it's a position which Leopold seems to have nailed down.
She anticipates the ball very well, Leah. You can see how low she gets out of picture. Chance to
Here's
run
a
out.
chance. No. That would have been close.
It's almost about 2 different dismissals there in that play. It could have been a
Yeah.
catch. It could have been a run out. Georgina Dempsey makes it home safe.
Good effort there from Alana Dalzell. Delighted to welcome all our viewers from so many parts of the globe with us today. I'm sure you're enjoying what is a really good game of cricket. We're here in Oak Hill Cricket Club, which is in the county of Wicklow, the southeast of Ireland. Certainly a ground which could claim to have the prettiest backdrop, Harry.
Oh, it's stunning, isn't it? And
As we look out there now with the sun shining on the Garden County, how beautiful is that? It's well played. Dalzell, oh,
that's really good fielding by Lana Delzell there at mid-on. The only thing missing was a direct hit.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the length on this wicket, though. I think you've seen a lot of purchase from when the ball's been pitched up, bowls, LBWs today, and it seems to be quite slow out of that back of the length or short of the length. So I'd like to see Ashley King pitch it up a little bit more here, not to get carried away.
in she comes.
Oh,
What a wonderful catch that was. You were just talking about the anticipation that Leopold shows in that position, and never was it more evident than just there. Have a look at this. This is quality cricket.
yeah, it's a brilliant catch, isn't it? It's short and wide, and it was smashed hard by Mary Waldron, and Leopold's just plucked it off the grass, and it's been an excellent catch, and she's been threatening to do something special all day, and that was a brilliant catch, and shows the advantage of having a brilliant fielder there at backward point.
Absolutely. So Mary Waldron departs. Bowled King, caught Paul for 10 off 13 deliveries. The new batter to the wicket is Jane Maguire. One of the new breed of wonderful young cricketers coming through the Irish ranks. Plays her cricket out of that fantastic cricketing school. The Hills, she plays her cricket out of the Hills Cricket Club in North County Dublin.
And coming on to bowl is Cara Murray. She bowled beautifully earlier. She'll be hoping to hit her strap. She was finding her groove in her third and fourth over. And that's a much better start from Cara Murray. She was a bit loopy in her first 2 overs, but she's gotten right into it there, and it's great to see her back playing now after a little bit of time off with injury. She's back, and
She's such an important player for Irish cricket. Plays her cricket in the NCU as well as playing some club cricket in Leinster. Has been a really prominent young cricketer to date, and trying to find her way in the senior ranks now. Loose delivery, just put away for a single.
yeah, and this will be an interesting little battle here with Georgina and Cara, because Georgina certainly got the better of Cara earlier in the day, and I'm certain Cara will be trying to make amends for that now.
It's well bowled and well hit. That's a super shot. Georgina Dempsey carrying on from where she left off this morning, Harry.
Yeah, Cara Murray just drifting down the leg side a little, but as we've seen all day, Georgina Dempsey's keen to use her feet, and Cara Murray follows her, but she's up to the task and whacks that away. Square legs up because mid-off's back, so it's an easy 4. That's a
Well bowled.
really good reply from Cara Murray there. It's a game of cat and mouse between these two now, and You just feel like something's going to happen between the two, either boundary or wicket.
In comes Murray. That should be another boundary. Is another boundary. So good over that for the Typhoons.
Yeah, that's well put away, wasn't it? But that's the pressure she puts the bowler under. You know, she was so strong using her feet and hitting down the ground. And as we know in women's cricket, you're only allowed 4 out of the 25-yard ring. So there's always a gap in the field. And, you know, she's really making Cara Murray think now, because she's hitting the ball where she has no fielders. So Cara's certainly under pressure now.
We mentioned we're here in Oak Hill in County Wicklow. Got to pay special credit to the ground staff. It's been very difficult. We had a torrential day's rain yesterday throughout the night, and indeed this morning. And there's the 6th wicket to fall.
Yeah, Jay Maguire looks to have just played all around that one a little bit, but it's very good bowling from Ashley King. The little bit of extra pace, and it's you miss, I hit, and that's really good bowling from Ashley King. That's what she's been brought on to do. And now the Typhoons, their backs are against the wall here. 71 for 6 in the 15th over.
Yep, Jane Maguire departs. Just saying, we've had such a horrible 48 hours of rain. We've got to congratulate the ground staff. Both Dale McDonough and I think Diarmuid Tucker are on duty here today, Harry.
Yeah, Dale and Diarmuid, the brother of Lorcan, Irish international, good friend of mine. If he's listening, give him a shout out. But yeah, no, Dale and Diarmuid have done Trojan work, as they always do. The GM by choice team, and they've produced a really good wicket here today. Again, a good cricket wicket, and they've just done so well to keep the water off the wicket, because we're so exposed here in Oak Hill. The wind sweeps off the Wicklow Mountains, and they've done Trojan work. We played a series here in May, and another ground staff, Sam Streak, actually went flying off the cover. He was on the match wicket. He went outside the 30-yard ring holding onto the cover. Busted up his knee, but he's made of hardy stuff as Sam Streak. He was alright.
Sam will be needed today.
But they do great work, the GM by choice team.
Absolutely. You've mentioned Diarmuid Tucker and Lorcan. Of course, also a brother of Fiacre, the captain of Pembroke Cricket Club's first 11. And the youngest, Tucker, who was in the runs for Leinster during the week. Delighted to see Donncha perform so admirably for the Leinster under-15 team. Well done, Donncha. I think he scored about 30 or 40 not out, and what I hear was a terrific knock. And Clina doing ever so well as well. Great cricketing family, the Tucker family. Barry and Orla.
Donncha topped your high score by about 30 runs then during the week?
Considerably. I wasn't really a man blessed with talent with willow in hand, Harry. Slightly scared, I'm afraid. Always tended to head towards where Paul Reynolds is standing. In comes King. It's a good delivery. That is a fantastic delivery.
Want to make sure she's okay after that. I think
Yeah.
that seemed to catch her on the
Did it come up
side of the throat, was it?
We'll have a look here now. It was a quick delivery. Nasty delivery.
I think it was just the back of the wrist, so
Yeah.
it's not too bad. She's
Yeah.
fine. Indicated there, back of her wrist, but she's bowling up with a good head of steam here, Ashley King. Down breeze.
Yeah. There's a great shot. That is some reply.
Yeah.
That is some reply. Georgina Dempsey, what an outstanding young talent.
You hit me, I hit you. I think a bit of that there.
Absolutely.
That's a great shot. It's strong down the ground. She's done it all day.
Bounced literally just inside the ropes.
I don't think Ashley King will be too fond of that. I think if you were a betting man, you could figure out where this one's going to be.
Well, we'll see now.
That's good bowling.
It's good bowling, and it's equally good batting. Just the one. And that concludes the 15th over. And after 15 overs, the Typhoons are 77 now for the loss of 6 wickets. I'd like to thank Harry for his contribution, and to take us home in the Typhoon innings, delighted to welcome back Gareth Delaney and Alan Lewis.
Well, there we are. Scorecard again. Everyone getting starts. With Georgina Dempsey again getting with a strike rate of over 100. And as Harry said, having been hit on the head, said, I'll hit you. Back over your head to Ashley King. So, this next 5 overs, really, so much will depend, I would think, on Georgina Dempsey. Just lovely to see her attacking intent, Gareth, isn't it?
Yeah, she's the key here for the Typhoons if they want to be able to post a competitive score on the board here. Looks like she's going to keep on continuing to try and attack Cara Murray. She's probably going to have to mix up her line and length here to deceive Georgina.
And again, that's a better trajectory from Cara Murray. Emma Richardson bowled so well. That end we were speaking earlier, much more energy and bounce to the wicket. And that's just a little bit loopy, but it's been got away. I don't know whether that's off the pad or the bat, but it's 2 runs. Indeed, it is off the bat. 2 runs to Georgina Dempsey and to her team. 79 for 6 now, midway through the 16th over. It's a good call, that, from Georgina Dempsey. Not likely to get back.
Just not getting value for your runs today, are you?
No, the outfield, we were just talking about it earlier, Gareth. It's just that little bit longer today. Quite an amount of inclement weather during the week. Much better this from Cara Murray. Nice open face of the bat there from Celeste Rack, easing that out to the point boundary.
Seems to be throwing in an off spinner once every over, Cara Murray today.
Yes, I was talking to Glenn Quirrell about that. He says she can quite regularly do that. Maybe one or more of those looped leg spinners. She just throws in the off spinner at the very next ball. And there we have the bowling figures. A little bit more difficult for Hannah Little rather than her opening spell in the previous game. But Leah Paul, fantastic. Laura Moritz, very good spell of 4 overs, and Emma Richardson. So it's been a tidy display from the Scorchers. They'll certainly be looking over the next 4 overs if they can get another 25 or 30 runs. You sense they're going to need them, Gareth.
Yeah, be difficult though, because Ashley King here is set up with 2 deep square leg and deep fine leg, so could be looking for some sweet chin music here to Celeste Rack.
diminutive character, Celeste Rack.
Yeah, she sees the pace nicely there, though, getting down low and early. Right idea to get Georgina on strike, though. She's the key here for the Typhoons.
It was quite interesting, actually, Georgina coming in at 6. You would have thought maybe a shift up the order to maybe 4, 5 certainly. Oh, that's a very
Excellent
good
hook shot.
shot.
She's got 4 for it as well. Misfield down there, fine leg.
Having had an excellent piece of fielding down there earlier on, Hannah Little, she'd be very disappointed whether that took this amount of drainage work there done, whether it bobbled off something. It's hard for us to see from this vantage position here, but it's 4 very valuable runs, and Dempsey moves on to 23 now from 18 deliveries, doing a fantastic job for her team.
Pretty much textbook hook shot, that last one.
It's not a shot you see too often. You're seeing it much more so now in the women's game, but not too often, but they're used very effectively. And again, it's good decision, because often defending square of the wicket is that bit easier, never quite in the same amount of control. Oh. It's a no ball, it's 4, and it's a free hit. So these are very valuable runs from Georgina Dempsey. And that's a cracking shot, really is, because not the easiest deliveries to hit, but she's clobbered that over Cara Murray at deep backward square, who's in maybe 8-10 metres from the boundary. She isn't any longer. She's back on the ropes now. So
It's
this will be
definitely what the Typhoons needed anyway. Can get a couple of overs here in the last 4 of about 10 or more. Should be able to post a competitive score.
Off the over. So for perhaps 11 with the no ball from Ashley King. Up to this point has been impressive. Bowler with a very good strong action. Not shy about, as you say, throwing in the chin music either.
It's good from Rack here, good start from her. Keeping the strike ticking over here and getting Georgina back on strike.
Absolutely.
Can have an 8 ball over, are we? Or a
No,
7 ball over?
I think our scorecard people have forgotten about the no ball, because it wasn't coming up in an analysis earlier on, and of course the free hit. So this is the last ball of the over.
Great piece of fielding there by Gabby Lewis. That cover.
It's a fantastic shot from Georgina Dempsey as well, but as you say, outstanding fielding there from Gabby Lewis, cutting off a certain boundary. But a good over, as you say, for the Typhoons. Gareth, 92 for 6 now, 18 balls remaining. They'd be certainly looking, if they can, to get to between 115 and 120, which may be a good score. And it's dried out this pitch. It just seems to be a little bit easier. We've had a lot of rain over the course of the week. We did extremely well to get a game going on time here this afternoon. As you say, that's very good from Rack. Very good game situation cricket. Georgina Dempsey now 28 from 21. And she's going to be perhaps the difference between the Typhoons getting what might be a competitive score or not. And well done, Cara Murray. She enticed her wide outside off stump. Georgina Dempsey coming down the wicket and missing the leg break, but it's been a very impressive innings, Gareth, from Georgina Dempsey, and looking to do the right thing, remaining extremely positive, and she can be very happy with her performance here today, Georgina Dempsey.
Beautifully bowled there by Cara Murray. Got the spin to take away from her anyway. Nice bit of dip there at the end, but yeah, another very good innings there from Georgina Dempsey today.
So coming to the wicket is Rebecca Goff, number 37 on her back. And now it'll be interesting to see how Celeste Rack goes about her business. She's been in there a little while, has shots round the ground, good over extra cover in areas of that ilk, so
She's probably got to take over the aggressor's role now, but obviously not on strike this over, so
again, that's very good bowling from Cara Murray. Much better trajectory now into her stride, of course. Has missed 6 or 7 weeks of cricket, went over on her ankle in a fielding practice and was out of the game. So she's on the back of 2 club games and the one earlier this morning. That's, again, a little bit loopy.
gotten away with it though.
It's funny, that area where you get a full toss. Obviously you can dispatch it out of the ground, but that gap between that straightish mid-wicket and mid-on, Gary shuffling down the wicket, just look for your placement, time it, hit it hard in that gap, always before. And a very good over from Cara Murray. 95 for 7 now. And again, some excellent, there has been some excellent fielding from the Scorchers.
Ground fielding's been very good. Catching has been a little bit hit and miss, but
Well, one outstanding catch from Leah Paul at square cover, low down from Mary Waldron. Really good catch.
just one of those that's sick, isn't it? Don't know
Absolutely.
too much about it, just hits your hands and lucky it stayed in.
Have you any favoured position you like to field, Gareth?
I think early on, extra cover.
Okay.
Usually get a good siding of the ball. And then I suppose later on, maybe deep cover. Don't get too many catches hit your way out there. You just have to pick the ball off the ground. Stay out of the danger zone.
That's true. It's funny, I always like to be in front of square on the leg side. Watch where the batter's feet were going. And that's again a little bit loopy from Emma Richardson. She's changed ends now. Her first 3 overs were excellent.
Should be going over.
Yeah, a little bit high that, wasn't it, Gareth? It's never going to hit the stumps really, but better delivery that from Emma Richardson in the circumstances. Bowling to 2 out on the leg side, 45, straightish mid-wicket. Wide ball. I'd say nearly well stopped by Shauna Kavanagh there.
She'll have an important role in Lamanga. Emma Richardson to lead the spin attack there, where you'd imagine after back-to-back games, pitches probably will come a little bit slower and turn a bit more
Well,
towards the end of the competition.
I think if she can take a video of those first 3 overs she bowled at the far end, that would be the thing I'd be saying to her. That's a good shot from Rack. And it's an area of high profit for her. She plays very well over extra cover. Celeste Rack. As they pass the 100 mark for the first time today, Gareth. 101 for 7. 2 balls of the 19th over remaining. It's funny with that ball in the air, Gareth, that they don't look to advance. The minute you see it up in the air, you want to go.
Yeah, I suppose just what you're naturally comfortable with. If you're always used to probably staying in your crease. Where's that one gone? I think I'd Sean Kavanagh. Didn't see that one anyway. Just looped over her right shoulder, I think.
It's one of those ones when you've got the helmet on. You've
Yeah,
no
you can't
actual,
see it.
you can't really see where it is. And again, Shauna Kavanagh remonstrating to her. Her
No
ball.
chance going down the leg side and thick outside edge over to, I don't know where second slip might be. But yeah, no, I suppose if you're inclined to come down the wicket, obviously if you see a ball go above the eye line, that's probably a cue for most players that they start to advance. But if you're more comfortable staying in your crease, then you don't have that kind of natural instinct to make that first movement down. So
I do think it's something they should be practicing though, Gareth. I really do. Because if you
it'll be
can
easier to hit the ball when you do come down, because you do have that bit of momentum that you don't have to just generate the power from a standing position. So it's a little bit easier to get the ball up in the air anyway with a little bit more power.
Absolutely. It's a good hit from Rack, favouring the leg side on this occasion. Cara Murray spearing it into leg stump. And Rack clubbed that over Richardson at mid-wicket. Gabby Lewis and Ashley King doing the chasing.
Good placement, just unlucky with the slowness of the outfield. It's the off spinner again there to get Celeste Rock.
It's very good from Cara Murray. She'll be much more pleased with this spell than the one in the first game. And again, it just shows you the value, Gareth, of games of cricket in the middle. You can bowl in the nets all day long. Once the skipper says to you, next over, Gareth, you're on, it's a different kettle of fish.
And the nerves start coming in.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, and again, listening to commentary on lots of things, both batting and bowling, so much of it is rhythm of what you do. Nearly, when you don't have to think about it and you're putting it there or thereabouts, that's when you know you're in control. And when those sorts of days happen, you keep asking yourself, why can't I just have that feeling again?
It's very difficult, especially in T20 cricket, to get that rhythm, because all you've got is 4 overs, and a lot of the time you rarely bowl 4 straight through. The captain changes things up, either somebody likes to lucky and targets you, or just the captains won't let the batter settle. So very impressive from Cara Murray though. This second game she settled into her rhythm, as you say.
And of course you had that great experience 2 years ago, was it? I'm so confused with COVID, that spell at Leicester.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, you must have loved that.
Yeah, it's a great experience. Didn't think I'd ever get the opportunity to. Oh, so I got enough.
Oh, it certainly has got enough, and that's gone with the breeze, and that's 6 of the best. That's a Dorothy Dix of the highest quality.
It's a great shot from Rebecca Goff there.
A fantastic
Just needed
shot.
runs here for the Typhoons as well. Just a flick. Is that the one? Just a
Right.
flick of the wrist, really.
Oh, it's
It's
absolutely
travelled.
outstanding shot. And of course, watch that famous, was it semi-final, where I can't remember your colleague for Leicester who
Quarterfinals,
quarterfinal
unfortunately.
through his
Yeah.
legs. So I'm bidding farewell and handing over to Heatley Tector, who'll bring you through the summary of the innings with Gareth Delaney.
And so that concludes the Typhoons innings. It concludes on 1-1-1. I think they'll be happy with that, Gareth.
A lot better anyway than their first innings, so you can only be happy with that, I think. Again, Georgina Dempsey kind of saved them really through the middle to late overs there. Struggled to get going, but again, some good bowling from the Scorchers again, so tough
And
to
a very
get runs.
useful little cameo from Rebecca Goff there at the
Yeah,
end.
very lusty blow at
Absolutely.
the end to get them into the 110.
Because I'll tell
so
you, it's a big enough boundary out there.
it is, and she didn't really look to hit it that hard either. She just
It
kind of
was-
flicked her wrist.
She
so-
did, yeah. Yeah.
But hopefully they'll be able to be a bit more competitive in the next innings now, the Typhoons.
Yeah, well, I think the Typhoons have got to be happy enough with that. Having won the toss here this afternoon, their skipper Laura Delaney elected to bat, and having done so, they scored 111 runs. We'll hopefully be able to bring you some indication of the scorecard in due course. But I think that has the potential to be a competitive total, Gareth.
Going off the first game, 97, they only got there in the second last over, so here's a look at the scorecard here. Stokel and Little got into the teens to start off, and then a little bit of a slight collapse there in the middle until Georgina Dempsey came in and Celeste Rack batted well. She managed to rotate the strike for her 11, and then Rebecca Goff there at the end getting a 8 off 7 with the 6, so up to 111 off their 20 overs.
Yeah. Again, some useful partnerships here.
Yeah, no big partnerships though, which is what will annoy them. Ideally in T20 cricket you look for that one partnership of above 50, but a good 23 run partnership there between Georgina and Celeste kind of helped them get a score on the board towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And a look at the Scorchers bowling here, Gareth.
Yeah, wickets shared around all but kind of got in on to the action, and then Leopold again standing up top 1 for 10 in the power play is an exceptional job. And then Ashley King and Lara Moritz adding some pace and threatening bowling throughout the middle. And Karen Murray finishing off the end with 2 for 26 off her 4.
Yeah, I think Cara will have to be happy with how her day went for someone who really hasn't played that much cricket.
No, not easy as a leg spinner being asked to bowl some of the last overs as well, especially when batters are looking to come after you, so she did a very good job.
Yeah, and there's a match summary now. Georgina Dempsey top scoring, a splendid 28 off 23 deliveries. Lulu Little and Laura Delaney getting good starts. Rebecca Stokel scoring 11 off 11 and picking up a couple of wickets, both Ashley King and Kira Murray, and Leopold, who's really had an excellent day. Another really good spell from her, Gareth.
Yeah, she's been on fire today with the ball so far and the bat. She'll obviously be hoping to continue her good form and probably get another not out here if she can go one better and get 50 this innings.
Yeah, well, all will be revealed pretty shortly. I had mentioned to you earlier, Gareth, about your injury earlier on, and I've heard it said by a couple of people here today how well you're walking. You look really well, and it's great to see you walking so well, Gareth. And as Alan alluded to earlier, we so look forward to seeing you back in the green of Ireland, because I know it's a shirt that you really love wearing.
Thank you very much.
And
Yeah, okay, we'll do the match.
right now, as the groundsmen do some work. We're about to hand over to Alan Lewis, who's going to have a chat with Ed Joyce.
Welcome to Beyond the Boundary, and I'm delighted to be joined by the head coach of the Irish women's team, Ed Joyce. Ed, you must have been delighted with the 2 series victories between Scotland and the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was. We had a shaky start in the first one against Scotland. We bowled and fielded really well. Obviously looking forward to a good run chase, and we sort of let ourselves down there. I think we were sort of in 50 over mode, and we didn't play the way we wanted to play. And then the second game, obviously really pleased after that disappointment that we came out and put it right. And again, I think we bowled and fielded really well throughout the series, and that was more what our focus was trying to get rid of all those extras that we had maybe in previous years, and take some stunning catches and run outs and throw ourselves around in the field. And I was really happy with the way we did that against Scotland. And then with the bat in the 3 games that we won, I thought we were really, really good.
And what are the areas of improvement that you've really been looking for over the course of this period, where in a sense you had no matches? That was the great kind of starvation of the thing. What's the real areas of improvement to be looking for in the group?
I think the first assignment was those qualifiers in 2019, which obviously disappointing. We didn't play very well. We still nearly qualified. So we're obviously we've got skillful players and girls who could get to a World Cup even when we really weren't playing that well. So I felt like looking at your Thailands and Bangladeshis, they kept the game really, really simple. They didn't bowl many extras. They hit the stumps a lot with the ball. They didn't do anything particularly special, but then they fielded really well. Especially Thailand really got through to a World Cup on the basis of their simple bowling and good fielding, and their batting wasn't brilliant. So I felt like if we improved hugely in the field, the quality of our catching, the ground fielding, stopping balls that potentially we weren't stopping before, but a huge focus on our catching. And then with the ball, I spoke to Mark Robinson, who was the England coach, and they, obviously the England team, one of the best teams in the world, and one of their big focuses for almost his whole tenure was how many balls are hitting the stumps. Stats for hitting the stumps in women's cricket, and the amount of balls that get hit off that are huge, so if you hit the stumps, not many runs get hit, really scored. So really, really simple. So that's been our focus with the ball, whether it's spin or seam. And then with the batter was having a real focus on the girls, who should be opening the batting, what roles is each player playing, can we bat really deep so that if we do have a poor start we can drag it back, but it's letting the girls play with freedom and having a really clear and defined role. And I said, apart from that one game against Scotland, the first one, I feel like we're sort of going in the right track, and we're preparing well for this qualifiers coming up.
And this Super 2s programme, and obviously it's Super 2s at the moment, and we've had various discussions, but certainly the better players playing against one another, that little bit of competitive edge between particular people competing for places can only be a good thing.
Definitely, this is crucial. I mean, club cricket's it's all crucial, really. Club cricket's, I feel like it's improved a little bit in the standard. We wanted to improve a bit more, and the better players we have, having some overseas players really help that as well, hopefully in future years. And in this we only have 2 teams. 2 teams is the right call because of the depth we have at the moment, and they are competitive games, and there's lots of good cricket. It can get a little bit repetitive. That would be my only thing, criticism, and it's obviously not a criticism of any players or anything like that. It's just 2 teams playing against each other. They get to know each other really well, but we want it to be as competitive as possible and all the best players to be playing as much as possible as well. So in future we'd love it to be 3 or 4 teams, and have that variety in there as well as the quality. But it is really good. We've had some very high quality cricket, even today there's been some really good stuff, and girls getting a chance to put their names in the hat for 50 over. Obviously the T20 has already been selected, but then the 50 over comes hot on the heels after that, so there's still lots of opportunities to get into squads and to put your name forward, and we've seen lots of good stuff today as well.
And there seems to be a lovely balance in the seam attack, and it was interesting through the series, and I'm sure it was something you spoke about, but Orla Prendergast in particular, in the power play, bowling 3 overs, putting pressure on, taking wickets early. That seemed to be a tactic that you maybe went into the games with.
Yeah, I'd say that's evolved really. We didn't necessarily think Orla, she's a very good seam bowler, and we were hoping to have a couple of overs of hers at the death as well, or for the captain to use maybe through the middle if she felt she needed them. It's just those first six overs are so crucial. If someone's bowling that well, you want to keep them going. So she's been consistently getting 1 or 2 for 6 to 10 runs off 3 overs, which is so valuable in those first 6 overs. Ava Canning's done a great job as her sidekick there in those first 6, and a lot of the time it's just been the 2 of them bowling 3 each. and they've done a fantastic job. Again, very few extras, which makes a massive difference. Very few bad balls down leg side or really full ball, so keeping it really simple. But I mean, that's not a simple job, they're keeping it simple, what they're trying to do, and they don't change much, but it's, as I said, that's high skill, being able to bowl under pressure at the stumps with only 2 players outside the inner ring. So they've done an amazing job. They didn't play in the last game against the Netherlands. We wanted to see what we had apart from Orla, Lara and Ava there, and I thought we actually put up a really good show, considering those girls hadn't had the opportunity to bowl in those periods before, and you take 3 players out, and I thought we had the rum end of the stick. Obviously the fact that we had to go out 5 times with the bat, I thought we got a decent score on the board and then had to bowl with a wet ball, but that's the way it goes, and I thought it was a good experience for maybe the girls who are there's a chance Orla might get injured, Ava might get injured, Lara might, who knows who what you might have to do. So I thought it was a valuable experience, even though we lost the game. So as I said, it's great having Orla and Ava there in the first 6, but we also need some other options too.
And obviously, Ed, it's something that we've noticed from the sideline, which is most pleasing, the improvement in general in the team. You talk the feeling. One of the things for me has been strike rotation with the bat, the ability to run between the wickets, keep the scoreboard moving. But if there was one thing you could take into the qualifiers by way of the next piece of improvement, what do you think that might be?
Well, that's a hard question. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible. I think one of the things we want to do with Gabby and Rebecca Stokel at the top there is to go quite hard, but as if we do get off to a good start and get to 20 or 30, it's then what do you do next? Do you keep going hard? It's about making good decisions. That's what we're really trying to get through to the girls now, is making good decisions after what's happened previously. So you look at the first over, you get you get 10 off the first over of the first 4 balls. What do you do the last 2 balls? Those kind of really small things. As I said, we've got to a stage now where I think where the girls know what their role is, but it's then, as I said, in the middle of it, what do you do? Same with the ball. If you bowl three sort of good stock balls, then, and you get a feeling that the batter's going to do something, do you then bowl your slower ball to get her off strike, or bowl one really full and straight to put the field back or something like that? So I think that's the next stage, is sort of in the middle of you doing something well, what's a good decision then? So as I said, Rebecca's a good example, because she's done really well. She's doing the role we want her to do, which is to go hard and supplement. Gabby at the top there is obviously a really important player for us, and she's got to 10, 15, 20 a good few times, and we want her to learn how to get that 30, 40, 50, which will hopefully win us the game, and she's as capable as Gabby to get those scores as well, and we want her to believe that, and it's the same with all the batters, but I think she got a good 40 in that last game, and we'll hopefully crack on from there.
Well, I think the one thing, Ed, in conclusion, which we've enjoyed, and I've enjoyed from the sideline as a cricket lover, is the improvement in the team, and that's all a coach really will ever want. And many thanks for your time. Really enjoyed that. Thank you.
And welcome back to Oak Hill.
Thanks, Ed.
Nice to have you back, and I'm sure you thoroughly enjoyed that most interesting of conversations between Alan Lewis and head coach Ed Joyce. Delighted to have Harry Tector with me. This could be a good game, Harry.
Yeah, well, it's set up well, and it's going to be a difficult chase. Ava Canning bowled brilliantly in the first game, so but what do I know? Leopold's dispatched that out to the mid-wicket boundary, and she's carrying on from where she left off in the first game. That was a brilliant shot.
Superb shot that was. Here's the replay. Watch the ball beautifully onto the bat and just dispatch that over mid-wicket for 4. You said Leah just carrying on from where she left off, batted beautifully in. It's well bowled. Batted beautifully earlier on today in game 3 of this Arachas T20 series between the Typhoons and the Scorchers.
Yeah, that's lovely bowling from Ava Canning, and Leopold just needs to be careful, because if she plays that shot over mid-wicket from that sort of delivery, it can easily go straight up. Oh, trouble
Here.
Mary Waldron's failed to gather, but if she did, that was game over for Leopold. And we know from earlier in the season, these two have a bit of a history of run-outs. So I don't think Leah would have been the happiest of campers had she been run out there. But she got home by the skin of her teeth.
Yeah, I think you're right. Had Mary Waldron gathered cleanly, she might have been making her way back to the beautiful pavilion here in Oak Hill Cricket Club.
Yeah, I also think she might have been throwing Gabby's bag in the bin. Had she been run out there. That would have been the third or fourth run out this year between the two of them. Oh my goodness. But look, she's alive to tell the tale.
Yep, exactly,
Still
and that's
there.
all that matters. So having readjusted her pads, Paul is now ready to resume action, and Ava Canning ready to continue her spell from the Dublin Road end.
Will that go all the
I
way?
think it just about will, and yes it does. That's a good first over, this.
Yeah, well, that's a safe shot for Leah because it's pitching outside the line of leg stump. So it's a free shot. She's not going to get out LBW from there. It's the ball that pitches on middle and goes away with Ava's natural shape that she just has to play with that straighter bat. Just like that there.
Sorry, Harry, I couldn't be with you there for the first over. Had the joys of the national women's coach, Ed Joyce, who's always a pleasure to listen to, talking anything about cricket, but the one thing that he certainly developed with his team, Glenn Quirrell as well, is an improvement in their performances, and that's all you really want as a coach for the most important qualifiers that are coming up.
Yeah, he's a fountain of knowledge, Ed, isn't he? And he's done great work with the women in his short time with them thus far.
So Celeste Rack to bowl the second over, 8 without loss. An impressive beginning from Leah Paul. That's through the offside from Gabby Lewis. She'll be delighted to get off the king pair, Harry.
Yeah, well, she'll certainly be wanting to make amends for a first ball duck in the first game.
She might get it ticking off over dinner, I would imagine, tonight, Harold.
From you, not from me.
Not from me. She won't be entertained by me tonight.
No, I'd steer clear of that conversation, Louis.
Well, perhaps it's better that she's with you and not with me.
They're an interesting pair running between the wickets, Louis.
Well, I'd say the conversations, how they're still friends, is beyond me, but they are. They're very good friends, but again,
You can see the nervousness in their calling. We're just watching them. You can tell that there's not that element of trust between the pair that there might have been at the start of the year.
well, I had a certain amount of sympathy for Gabby Lewis because it was a question of whether the ball was going to get past the bowler. Leah Paul had decided I'm on the charge. She was dutifully sent back and was very lucky to make her ground.
So that's rack started well here. Much better pace.
good fielding from Jane Maguire. Or sorry, I should say, excuse me, Cecilia Joyce. Sometimes very difficult in the women's game, Harry. Most of the players have ponytails.
They block the numbers.
Block the numbers.
Interesting, the Typhoons, that's a great shot from Gabby Lewis. Hit hard off the back foot through extra cover. And there's no fielder there.
Well, it's the best place to put it, Harry, and that's excellently executed by her.
You can see the benefit of playing against a player for so long. The Typhoons, they have a very straight cover sweeper. When Celeste is bowling to Gabby Lewis there, she loves to go over extra cover, and the Typhoons know that, so it's always going to be tricky when the same team plays against each other the whole time. They learn the batter's strengths and they try and counter that, and that's the challenge, and that's been what's so great about this Arachas Super 50 and Super 20 is teams are constantly trying to come up with new ways to get each individual batter out.
Very true. And again, it was something we spoke of beyond the boundary, one element of which can be a wee bit of a frustration. They just play against each other more often, but you're absolutely right. They can, if they're having conversations, they can talk about strengths and weaknesses and various different things, which is only good because it's the sort of thing I'm sure you do deep-rooted analysis of opposition and various different players as they isolate different things in your technique that could bring your downfall. So immediate replacement, Jane Maguire into the attack. Jane from the Hills Cricket Club. Interesting field this, Harry, in the sense that that square cover is very square, where again Leah Paul, exactly where she's manoeuvred the ball is one of her strength areas. You might want to be trying to cut that off.
Yeah, it's a mirror field for Gabby Lewis, the right-handed batter, deep cover sweeper, very square and a third man. She faces up her first ball from Jane Maguire.
I'm not a big fan of a split field, Harry, 5-4 early on. Try and force your bowler to bowl to the side that might have 6 fielders on it. You can always play mid-on, deep square, 45 in. Let them have one on the leg side. Not going to cause too much strife.
The only thing is with Ava Canning's shape prodigiously back into the right-handed batter, is it giving her that little bit of extra protection if she does get a little bit straighter, that she has that little bit of protection to say, you know what, if you can attack the stumps a bit more with your shape? And it might be a hard shot to hit that ball through, say, I don't know, the extra man on the offside.
Well, that's a good piece of bowling. Leah Paul just a little bit early with the shot there. Whether she was trying to premeditate, I don't know, but she's found her off stump back, and Jane Maguire's made the breakthrough here early. Leah Paul, the star of the show in the first game, with 44 not out, is gone.
Oh, that was very well bowled, wasn't it? She just came slightly wider of the crease, angled back in, and she got a little bit of assistance off the wicket as well, and it crashed into that top of off stump. That's really well bowled from Jane Maguire, and that's the first wicket to fall for the Scorchers, 19 for 1.
Well, it's an interesting thing too, Harry, because as part of the qualification process, they're going to have to play 2 games in one day when they're in La Manga, so it's something they're going to have to get used to, because one of the days is a double header. They squeeze the number of games they can into the number of days they've got with the rest day, so it's going to be all hands on deck. And in T20 cricket, as we know, so much can happen, and Ed spoke about that when we were doing the Beyond the Boundary piece, that piece where they were in and out 5 times in the game against Holland, not really knowing where they were, then bowling with a wet ball. It's the sort of thing that can unnerve you a bit, but he certainly spoke very positively about what lay ahead, and he's really enjoying working with this young team now, team very much in transition. And again, a performance like Georgina Dempsey's today will have done her no harm whatsoever.
It's been great though, you know, with such a young team at the minute. It's been brilliant to have the likes of Emma Richardson back into the side and just bring that little bit of experience and knowledge to sort of help bring those young players up to speed and ease them into international cricket.
And with that, Emma Richardson is gone. Again, favouring that heave to the leg side, which really, I suppose if I was going to comment on anything, Harry, I'd love to see a bit more sense of purpose down the ground. And I think if it's one area that the national team can improve, and it was something that Stokel brought the second game of that Scottish series, and again it's an area of strength for Gabby Lewis, but it's just something you'd like to see more of, I sense.
Yeah, well, Georgina Dempsey showed it earlier in the game, didn't she? She hit the ball strongly down the ground, and she's been the leading run scorer across the 2 games, and there's no surprise as to why that is. She kept it really simple. She used her feet against spin and hit the ball straight, and when it was against seam, she hit the ball straight back at the screens, and not a lot can go wrong as a batter when you're looking to hit the ball straight.
I certainly think if they're going to work on anything between now and the qualifiers, they've practice games and practice sessions. Some of them down here would be to, you know, create some level of invention to try and bring a bit of fun to proceedings, but also practice that area coming down the wicket, holding shape, hitting it over the top. As you say, Georgina Dempsey was the one really to profit today by doing so, and she played excellently, and she's coming on to bowl now. And Mary Waldron going back, normally stands up to most things, Mary, but Georgina Dempsey will, I'm sure, take this into her bowling.
It's a good start from Georgina Dempsey, just with that slightly slingy action. She does just get a little bit of tail back into the right-handed batter, and sometimes that's all it needs, just a little bit of something different, a little bit of shape back in, and it can cause all sorts of bother.
That's a good shot from Lewis, and an equally good piece of fielding.
Would you say you're a good watcher, Alan?
I usedn't to be the greatest. I would be generally a very good watcher. I love watching the game of cricket, but when you have, let's call it a blood relative, it's not easy at times. Some very interesting discussions over the dinner table at times when she's interested.
And that's a really good start from Georgina Dempsey to the new batter, making her play straight away.
Well, I think one of the areas you'd be looking to when bowling to Shauna Cavanagh is to be nice and full. Try and force her to hit areas that she mightn't be as comfortable hitting. Commentator's curse. Very wide that from Georgina Dempsey.
I think what's been good about Shauna, and the thing that I've noticed this year, which has potentially been different, and it sounds so simple, but her head is very still when the ball's released, and it's something that can be lost, I think, in with batters generally. You know, you forget to just stand there and watch the ball and keep your head still. and there's been no surprise why she's done so much better this year compared to other years. She's just seems to be a lot stiller, and watching the ball a little bit harder.
And I suppose the other thing with rhythm, more comfortable in her own game, with where she is with her own game, and that little bit of confidence that comes with that. Watched carefully onto the bat by Gabby Lewis, brings very good over to an end from Georgina Dempsey. 22 now for 2 at the end of the 4th over, and again it's going to be more of a contest, obviously, with the Typhoons scoring 111. It's quite interesting. A lot of the T20 women's cricket you see around the world, you know, scores of 130 are very competitive totals, even at the highest level. Obviously you watch it level to level, but side getting 130 are always in the game.
Yeah, I think the Typhoons will be delighted having gotten up to 112. You know, if not for Lara Maritz's sort of cameo of 29 not out off 23 balls, it would have been a really, really tight game, and they only got home with 9 balls to spare. So I think this is a competitive total on this pitch.
I think that's an area, that's again a poor throw in there from Rebecca Goff and Shauna Kavanagh. I always encourage keepers, when you're coaching, come and try and collect the ball in the full, catch and ditch, but they could be a lot more helpful to their wicket keepers both sides today.
Jane Maguire's getting nice bit of shape from the far end here, no kill against a bit of the breeze, which is always good to see.
It's a good line from Jane Maguire. I think as time moves on, Jane Maguire, Georgina Dempsey are only going to get better as long as they continue to love the game, work hard, feel that they want to get better. I think just looking at Jane Maguire as well, that use of her left side, Harry, could be a bit more effective. I'm sure that's something that they'll work on, try and get a bit more dynamic pull down, might get a little bit more pace, hold her a bit more upright when she bowls.
Yeah, I think it was something we were speaking about earlier. Just that competition it's never a bad thing, and I'm sure her and that's good fielding. I'm sure her and Georgina Dempsey would have been playing all the way up in the age groups together and pushing each other, and that's only going to help bring them both on if they're both pushing each other the whole way. And you'd hope that both of them will be a large part of the Irish women's team in years to come.
Oh, and that's a chance, and it's gone down. Gabby Lewis getting away with it there. Ava Canning at backward point. She won't be pleased with that.
We see on the replay here, just got it on the top edge of her bat, and it was a chance that really should have been taken at backward point, and Ava Canning will be disappointed with that. Such a big wicket, Gabby Lewis. And she'll be looking to make the most of that life she's just been given.
And of course it was a life the Typhoons captain had early on when we were on commentary. So she'll certainly be wanting to make them pay. But these are the sorts of chances, Harry, aren't they? You've got to take when you're defending. 112 as Dempsey resumes. That looks a bit wide to me, and Steve Wood agrees.
I'm going to love you and leave you, Alan. My teammate in crime, Gareth Delaney's going to sub in for me here.
Excellent, Harry. Thank you very much for your time and efforts and your insights. Always interesting to listen to. Harry, from a captaincy point of view, obviously captaining many sides. It's always good to hear the views of someone involved in the more modern formats of the game. I'm an old, well, I won't say the word on air, but we were perhaps a wee bit more traditional. I was a lover of technical things, Gareth.
Did you ever get to play T20 cricket?
No, we played 2020. We played 20 overs, as we called it. We were having a good laugh about it when, at a time, if you got 110, it was a good score. So there was no such things as ramps, dill scoops, reverse lap switch hits. No, they didn't exist. That's a better shot from Lewis. Hit out to the extra cover boundary. Again, Harry was alluding to that fact that, you know, you work together as teammates to drive yourself on. Is that something that you find even with your own colleagues, that you know you're out in Abbottstown a lot, that you try and help each other, various aspects of your game?
Yeah, obviously some lads probably stronger in some areas, so Harry's probably, I'd look to him in terms of he's very good in these kind of not unusual shots, but not the traditional shots, so the reverse sweeps, the paddles, the little ramp and dink shots. So you do learn off other guys, or you try to anyway, and then obviously there's probably that little bit of competition between guys anyway as well. So
That's
you're
a very
always
good
pushing each other on. So
yeah, it's a funny thing, Gareth, because I kind of still believe that, you know, the strong shots, how you drive, how you execute your drive properly, your pull shot, your cut, you know, the traditional shots that you play, getting things in the right position, staying in shape, always probably provide you with that little bit more scoring opportunity more regularly. But I'm not an unadvocate of some of the things that you see, because some of it is spectacular to watch. As you say, those ramps in particular off some of the quicker bowlers.
I'd say the main thing is just keeping your head still. Like if you can play those shots and your head still, to some guys they come easier than some of the more traditional or normal shots. So.
And did you find the transition to international cricket more difficult or easier than you thought?
I wouldn't say easier than I thought, no. I obviously was lucky enough that I had a few Wolves tours or series that I was involved in, so you kind of did have that little bridge to get through. And then obviously some of the lads, some of the more senior players had a year or so in the Interpro setup, which obviously helped as well, because that obviously increased the level of competition. But I was probably kind of lucky in the sense that when I did come in, we kind of had that World Cup qualifier, so we were playing teams that probably more on a level par with us.
That's a very good shot from Shauna Kavanagh, and again it's interesting from Ava Canning. I think she'd be much better equipped if she brought her deep square that little bit finer and maybe took 45, because she bowls that wide outside off stump and just cut off that area there, Gareth. I don't know what you feel.
Yeah, ideally it's not really where you want her bowling, is it? Wide of off stump, giving Shauna the width to be able to use her hands.
But if you have the protection there,
yeah,
it's one of the things, because you're kind of saying like, well, obviously she can be heaved to the leg side.
She is looking to try and tink it down though to third man, as you say. So you could change the field, but I suppose you're ideally setting the field for the good ball and not the bad ball.
And again, it's not that it's just a bad ball. If you can just sap the energy like they did in that middle phase of the reply when Leah Paul and Shauna Kavanagh were together in the first game where they really stand. That's interesting that they're beginning to do it. I've got an earpiece direct to your sister. Again, you can bring that, obviously that 45 possibly a little bit finer, but that looks a much better field to me.
They'll have to work hard, the girls on the boundary here. Not allow Gabby to just dink it into the leg side and come back for two. But good work from Stokel off the long on boundary, making sure to get in early.
That's good bowling from Ava Canning. I think she's a real tricky customer, Gareth. I really do. She bowls with good accuracy, and I think if she gets her fields right, which I think she has now, I think she's a handful, because we spoke earlier about this idea of not really knowing where your off stump is, and ideally that gap on the leg side, if you can get yourself across. But there is your line.
She's
And
always
again,
in the game, as you say, with that little bit in swing, targeting the stumps, and she doesn't offer. It's not express pace where you can use it. You have to generate it yourself. So,
well, the other thing is she's cut off that profit area as
Yeah.
well, just behind square, and I think that's a much, much better field for Ava, and it's something that maybe she can carry, you know, in talking to Laura and talking at team meetings, what they might do. And again, we talk about protecting her over. This is good. Run right now required, coming back up near sixes. That's okay. No difficulty there. Just get out of your over, which she's done very well. So 38 for 2 from 7. That magic number, if you can get it above sixes into the sevens, becomes a more difficult process for the Scorchers. And this,
of course, the best way to do that is to take wickets. So, Typhoons have gone back to Celeste Rack here, leg spinner, hoping that she'll be able to get the breakthrough that they need.
yeah, it's one thing I always talk to Laura about, is I think she often, and it's an easy thing to do when you're captain. If you remember that spell she had against the Lancashire Lightning, bowled ever so well, wicket to wicket, good length, and probably had her most profitable figures for Ireland, I would have thought.
She can tend to underbowl herself as captain, but
Well, it's something too I would speak to Harry about. You know, when he's captaining the Wolves, you can tend to look after everyone else, and maybe in a certain situation you'd be better bowling yourself, and you wonder, am I feeling right by doing that, or should I be doing that? But sometimes it's just having the gumption and the get up and go to do it. And again, that's an excellent shot from Gabby Lewis. Now, that's an interesting thing as well, Gareth. I often kind of think, you know, when you get a short ball like that, your natural tendency is to drag it leg side, but with mid-on in on the edge of the circle, why not come over there? Just wait that little bit longer and get it into that gap where you'll definitely get 4.
she's hanging back here anyway, Gabby. Expecting her, waiting for the slightly shorter ball from Celeste, that she is able to club it over mid-on.
He needed the cue extension to get at that one. Steve Wood taking his time before he gave wide there. He'd have had one leg up on the snooker table to try and get at that, Gareth.
Probably where they let the Scorchers get away in the first game throughout the middle, so Be interesting to see if they do take the risk of maybe bringing an extra fielder up and try and create that bit of pressure. Good call there by Shauna Kavanagh, nice and early.
Very good call, and it's actually amazing how often square of the wicket, if you play it late like that, invariably there's a single there, because you just flat foot the square cover, because you don't really know whether you're going to go left or right, and that's a very good single, as you say, Gareth. That's good cricket from the Scorchers. Oh, and that's gone down. Would have been a super catch from Jane Maguire. Great effort to get to where she got to. Forcefully hit down the ground by Gabby Lewis. That would have been an absolute classic.
Yeah, just diving to her right there, unfortunately. Didn't stick. Lucky that it didn't roll over the rope there. So
But it was
after, that would have been a bit
a great effort
unfortunate.
though, wasn't it?
Yeah, great effort.
So a second life for Gabby Lewis. You'd have been disappointed to a certain extent having hit a shot as well as that, as straight as that, but it was a brilliant effort by Jane Maguire.
It's usually kind of what happens though with the leg spinner, isn't it? They can tend to go for a few runs, but they do tend to create a chance here or there. So as Freya Sargent comes on now from the far end. Just getting ahead of the run right now, the Scorchers.
Yeah, just dragged it back a wee bit. And again, it can happen like that. You just got to keep moving. And again, 5 fielders on the leg side for Freya Sargent. Georgina, extremely athletic out there on the sweeping boundary. And earlier, of course, you said you love to field, Gareth.
She covers a lot of ground quickly, doesn't she? She's got a very strong throw on her as well, so she's very well suited to deep cover, I think.
She probably doesn't need to. She's way out on the rope there. She could easily be 5 or 6 metres in, I would have thought. Make life a bit easier for herself.
That'll be 6.
That's 6 of the best, I'm afraid. Tossed up by Freya Sargent, and it has gone the distance. I don't know whether
Interesting to see if it went above waist.
I dare say it might have. I didn't see a signal from Steve Wood. It certainly looked shoulder high.
Punished it anyway.
Well, if you get a delivery like that, guy, you just got to hit it for 6. End of. No mucking around. Lampoon it out of the ground. Shauna Kavanagh, nice to see her pushing Gabby Lewis, dawdling her first run. But Shauna Kavanagh, excellent between the wickets. Score moving on now to 57, middle of the 9th. Ah, it's a great pickup. Really is, with an outstanding throw. Looks to be Lulu Little out there. Brilliant bit of fielding from her.
I don't think he's yet to raise the finger for an LB today, is he?
Oh, Renault's been very quiet.
fair number of run-out ones, but
Seems to be the end to go to, Gareth, really. Steve Wood all the action at this end. Renault's had a quiet afternoon by comparison to the early passage of play. He was jumping around the place like a jack in the box. Ask questions. Is that out? Isn't it out? I'm not sure. Ricochets onto the stumps. Must have been the holidays for Renault, I reckon. Quiet week down on the coast. En famille, he told me. And at last, she's coming into the attack.
yeah, she's a job on her hands here to try and wrestle back a bit of control for the Typhoons. Scorchers look like they're going to walk this one pretty easily here. If Wasp was anything to go by, I think it was 98% in the last over. So, T20 can be funny though. A couple of quick wickets and momentum changes things. So
Absolutely. And I think this is where probably Laura could gamble a bit. Again, something I spoke to her about, this ability. And I know it's easy to say, well, you've got to take wickets, I suppose, to a certain extent. She's obviously got to try and bowl wicket to wicket, but in a containing role with the pace she bowls, she could afford, her long on, deep mid-wicket, square leg in even, and then just bowl to 6 on the offside. But she's obviously got that Rebecca Goff at that straightish mid-wicket, so she's wanting to bowl wicket to wicket, which I can completely understand.
nicely tucked away there by Lewis off her legs.
And fielded by Freya Sargent there, because she was quick to the ball. Good arm. Again,
They are in off the ring though. The stump high field is a mid wicket and extra cover trying to put the pressure on, but it's kind of an attacking / defensive field with your boundary riders, but the people in the ring trying to cut off anything else in the ring.
Well, it's a question really, Gareth, isn't it, where you're going to encourage the batter maybe. Where do you want them to take a risk? That's kind of the ingredient, I kind of think.
I suppose with this field you're trying to cut out the singles in the ring and pulling stump to stump if she can, cut out the square boundary riders and try and force them to take the big shot on and hopefully find one of the fielders in the deep. But you're alright, they do need to change something because can't afford to go at 5s and 6s now.
Not really. Again, and that's it.
Just hit the wicket end there, did it?
Possibly a little bit, but you want that sort of thing gathered when every run is precious. You want that sort of ball fielded. It was a good ball from Delaney, played defensively by Lewis, and gets away with 1. So she moves to 30 from 22. And that's the type of area I kind of think that for Laura Delaney, if she can just bowl there, maybe bring one over to the offside and start forcing the Scorchers to come leg side, you might lure them into a mistake. But with those few words, I'm going to pass over to Heatley Tector, who will be with Gareth Delaney for the next 5 overs.
Afternoon, Gareth.
Welcome back, Heatley.
Thank you. Very nice to be back with you again. Freya Sargent continuing her spell from the Dublin Road end. I have to say, I love Freya's action. I think she's only a young girl bowling against very experienced cricketers. I think she's a real promising talent.
It's very easy looking action. Doesn't seem to be
beautiful.
too many moving parts.
Absolutely beautiful. Oh,
Got lucky there.
yeah.
Probably just needs to finish her action slightly a bit more.
So this really is a key stand for the Scorchers, Gareth. Two of the most experienced cricketers in the country, Gabby and Shauna. It's well bowled. It's a good shot. It's a very good shot.
It's looking a bit ominous now for the Typhoons.
It is, yeah. They need to break this wicket and to do so immediately.
I feel if these two are here for another 2 or 3 overs, the game will all but be done.
Absolutely. Well bowled. Well bowled, Freya. Well done. Great experience for a young girl like.
Yeah, youngest
like
on
Freya.
show here
Yeah,
today.
she is
Under
the youngest
15s
on
playing
show,
at this
yeah.
level. It's a great achievement
Well
in
bowled,
itself. So.
Well bowled. So that concludes the 11th over. This is the Arachas T20 series between the Scorchers and the Typhoons. Typhoons winning the toss earlier, electing to bat, and scored 1-1-1. Hence the Scorchers require 112 for victory. Word coming through of a big win for Cork Harlequins over Merrion. That's a huge win for them, Gareth.
It's a big upset, alright. I think the Munster Reds coach will be happy anyway, Ted Williamson. That's his club, so.
What's happy by a million? I think Big Ted will be
Jumping around the place,
I would have
alright,
thought
anyway.
so. I would have thought so. And if that is the case, congratulations to them. Marion, a great side. Yeah, I think you're right though, Gareth, when you say, something has got to happen quickly here now. Chance here. Ooh. Might have been interesting.
Yeah, can't really afford to have a single there in the ring. Especially the way Scorchers are batting here, but she did go very early, Shauna, to be fair. She didn't hesitate at all, so that's what saved her anyway, if it had been a direct hit.
It's certainly been one of the strengths of Shauna's batting down the years, Gareth, her running between the wicket. She's quick.
Yeah.
She's decisive and she's quick.
Especially on a wicket and outfield like this where boundaries are hard to come by. Important to try and score off as few balls as you can. Just making sure to keep taking the strike over, so not letting the bowler or the fielding side settle.
It's well bowled. He was nervous watching Big Sis bowler bat.
Batting.
Batting.
Batting, yeah.
In comes Laura. Bowling wicket to wicket. Well bowled.
You only get one chance batting, unfortunately.
It's the
Bowling, you can make up for it if you have a bad over or two,
that's
but
the nature of the game, isn't it?
unfortunately.
What makes it so cruel and yet so great, I suppose. Laura will be looking to get out of the over here, just 3 off the over. She'll be very anxious to.
Yeah, Fielder's in the ring, just pushing back onto the edge now to try and get out of this over if she can. But unfortunately, she's not going to be able to.
No.
Good sweep shot off the seamer there by Gabby Lewis.
It was a good sweep shot. It's an exceptionally good sweep shot. You'll see it here.
Just drifting onto
Just
the
drifting
pads.
onto the pads, yeah.
Seeing it nicely today, Gabby.
Yeah.
43 off 30. She's flying away here.
Yeah, well, I think I may have heard you say earlier on comms that she'll be very keen to make amends for her first innings. And she
Happens.
Of course it does.
Unfortunately,
Of course it
she
does.
chopped on, but she's more than making up for it now anyway.
Yeah.
Guiding her side here to pretty comfortable win by the looks of things here, unless something happens very quickly for the Typhoons.
You know, when I think of Gabby, Gareth, I find it hard to believe she's still only 20. It feels as if she's been playing cricket for Ireland for about 20 years. But, you know, no doubt about it, a veteran of the squad and a key player now.
She's a star batter in T20 cricket, particularly for Ireland. Makes good use of the power play, and she's a very strong and positive cricketer, so
Yeah.
hoping that she goes well in the qualifiers, because she'll be an integral part of that team if they are to qualify.
Those qualifiers that Gareth is speaking about take place 26th to the 31st of August. So in a couple of weeks' time, the World Cup European qualifiers: Ireland, Scotland, Netherlands, France, Germany and Turkey. One will go through to the 2022 T20 World Cup Global Qualifier. Won't be easy, Gareth.
Certainly won't be, no. But should go in with confidence. Ireland, they did beat both Scotland and Netherlands in their respective series, although they are both very dangerous sides. Dutch in particular have a very strong middle order, powerful batting lineup. As Lewis pulls that one from outside off stump, comes back for the second. Yeah, I can imagine that they'll be pretty nervous affairs. I don't think I've ever played in the European qualifiers, so.
Yeah, well, of course we wish Ed, Joyce and Glenn and Beth and all the crew the very best of luck, heading away in just over a week's time, and so important that Gabby continues to hit those fours. And talking about qualifiers, I got to mention Ryan Eggleston and the under-19s. They have their World Cup qualifiers taking place in La Manga in early September. We wish them all the best. Again, very, very difficult group to qualify. Holland and Scotland and Jersey, all splendid cricket teams. The last couple of years it has boiled down to Ireland against Scotland, and who knows, that
Oh, it
may
seems to be the last day as well,
doesn't
isn't it?
Yeah,
The last
does,
game.
Yeah, it does. And that brings up Gabby Lewis's 50. An excellent 50. Splendid strike rate. Coming off just 34 deliveries.
Excellent knock here from Gabby Lewis so far. 5 fours and 1 6. She'll obviously be hoping to make it a bit more, but Typhoons going back to Georgina Dempsey here, hoping she'll be able to dislodge Lewis.
Partnership of 65 of just 60 deliveries. Splendid work on the part of both Shauna and Gabby here. Gabby 50 not out, Shauna 18 not out. 28 runs required. 42 balls remaining. So the Typhoons skipper. Looking for Georgina Dempsey to produce something special here. I think it's what's required. I think it's going to have to be very special.
Yeah, it's hard to see how the Typhoons are going to be able to stop the Scorchers from going to a 3-0 and unassailable lead in the Arachas T20 competition here.
It's well bowled.
Oh,
And
a little chop on again from Lewis, unfortunately. Well bowled by Georgina Dempsey
well, we
into the
said,
block hole.
yeah,
So.
we said the skipper had to do something special.
Oh, well,
She went
knows
to
best.
She went to one of our star players today, Georgina, who is
Bit unlucky there for Lewis. Just kinda
very unlucky, very
chopped onto
unlucky.
her foot and rolled on, unfortunately. But
Brilliant innings by Gabs.
Typhoons won't mind, and we'll have to get Moritz as well here, who also batted very well in the first game if they're to stand any chance. So.
Yeah, I think you're right when you're saying I think they're going to have to get Lara or Shauna pretty quickly as well. Gabby getting a great round of applause from her fellow Scorchers. Well batted, Gabby. Splendid knock. Certainly been a day that Georgina Dempsey won't forget in a hurry, Gareth.
No, she's had a great day with the bat, and now she's finally got her first wicket of the day as well. She did bowl very well in the first game as well.
And has fielded really well all day as well. So, Lara Moritz about to face her first delivery. Like this field, Gareth.
Yeah, bringing the fielders up from the leg side at mid-on and deep mid-wicket and pushing fine leg back, so they do got to try and put the pressure on Moritz here early on, see if he can get another wicket.
Just run down to third man there. Ava Canning tidying up and throwing the ball into Mary Waldron.
Rolling the dice here now, Laura keeping the fielders up. Bit sloppy that from Dempsey. Can't afford to be giving away those singles.
Just too casual, I felt.
Yeah, she did. After bowling a good ball like that, should be disappointed.
Yeah. Maybe her concentration just slipped. Well bowled, well fielded.
Very strong through that area, Lara Moritz. Mid-off, extra cover, scored a fair number of boundaries in the first game through there.
Clean striker of the ball is Lara. So club mates here, Georgina and Lara both playing for Phoenix.
Yeah, I wonder
Am I right in
if
saying
Georgina will repay Lara with maybe a short ball or two. It's an excellent over there from Georgina though, just the 2 runs, but
superb over.
Crucially the wicket of Gabby Lewis.
Yeah, tremendous over. The skipper will be delighted.
If they could have a good 1 or 2 overs here, get another wicket and only maybe go for 5 or 6 runs, you never know.
Absolutely.
Scorchers might get a little bit nervous on the sideline and little claps might ensue.
Looks as though Rebecca Goff is coming into the attack here. Key overs these if the Typhoons want to get out of this with a win this afternoon. We were talking off air there, Gareth, about your newfound fondness of golf. You're enjoying it?
Yeah, enjoying trudging into the rough to find golf balls there every second time, taking a new one out of the bag as I lose it. But no, it's been nice to be able to do that, seeing as I haven't been able to play cricket. So keeping myself busy a little bit with that.
Well, I think it's for someone such as yourself, plying your trade professionally on a cricket field, it's good to have something to take your mind away from. They're gonna, yeah, I was gonna say, are they gonna push for a second? They did, and they did comfortably. Just starting to look comfortable, Shauna, now the last couple of...
Good bit of scoreboard pressure on the batters here, so they can afford to take their time a little bit more, but just holding one end up here anyway for the Scorchers, making sure they're going to get over the line.
Well bowled, Rebecca Goff. Well bowled. Couple of very important deliveries coming up here, Gareth, now.
It's been a good start from Goff.
Yeah, very. Again, I like her action. Well bowled.
Just
Excellent over there from Rebecca Goff, and that concludes the 15th over. 15 overs gone, and the Scorchers move on to 90 for the loss of 3 wickets. And to take us home, Alan Lewis and Harry Tector.
Take us home, Harry. I'm coming home.
Take me home, Country Road.
Very good. Name the singer. It's John Denver.
I was going to say Neil Diamond.
Oh, that's Sweet Caroline. Forever in blue jeans. You've got to bring a bit of hilarity to this commentary box now and again, Harry. It can all get rather serious at times, but you just need to...
Would you be a Neil Diamond fan?
Well, yeah, I went to
a Sweet Caroline fan.
I went to a Neil Diamond concert once. It was very, very good. Don't tell me the best concert you were ever at was Dermot McAvoy.
Dermot Kennedy.
Kennedy, is it Kennedy?
Dermot McAvoy. That is brutal.
And I promise you I didn't make that up.
A HBV regular commentator loves Neil Diamond. Andrew Blair White.
Oh, indeed. Well, he's old school ABW.
It's good batting there from Lara Moritz.
He'll be pleased with his troops today as Clontarf 26 for 6.
As his opening bowlers bowling 10 on the trot.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing changes. As Laura Delaney comes in. And that's worked away on the leg side. Might be a second here. No, I don't think so.
Thus far, it's been a very well-paced chase from the Scorchers, hasn't it?
Very good. Very, very good. Although...
Loud call of 2.
that's very good from Shauna Kavanagh. Her running has been excellent out here today, Harry.
It's a trademark of her batting, Louis, isn't it? She's always busy in between the wickets. She's one of the quickest in the squad. And that's really good cricket there. Called 2 straight away and got back comfortably.
I think possibly at this juncture, really in terms of gamble, the Typhoons have to squeeze and bring that cover fielder in, or it's just going to be a wee bit of a slow death, I would have thought.
It's an interesting one. Not many of the girls wear caps, even though that sun is very low. I'd say on that far side it's getting quite difficult now.
Yeah. Also reluctant to wear the old sunnies.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be a fashion item for the women, the old sunnies.
Yeah. Although neither of us know what it's like to field with ponytails, so.
Well, that's true. Or eyelash extensions. Seems to be the go in our house at the moment.
You're next.
No, certainly not.
No?
Don't be silly. Best concert you were ever at, Harry?
I saw Mumford and Sons in Malahide Castle the year before COVID. They were very good.
Okay.
In the lashing rain. A few of my Cricket Ireland teammates and myself. Peter Chase singing in the hail, so he was.
Oh, Peter Chase singing in the hail.
Hail in the middle of summer.
Oh, okay. That's
That
new
was the
for
time
me.
for me to go home.
Probably true.
Yeah.
So 96 from 16. It should be plain sailing really for the Scorchers here. Would you like to see that boundary rider come in on the offside, Harry? Maybe.
I think so. I think the Typhoons have got to try and force something here. Otherwise, like you say, it'll be a slow death. Only 4 runs and over needed now at this stage. Force Lara Moritz to try and do something different.
That gap just there, Harry. Just get someone in on the one. Try and cut that off.
It's just a bit easy for the Scorchers now. You want to make them do something different, particularly so few runs to play with. Force them to try hit through the field. A little bit of extra bounce there outside the off stump.
Again, Shauna Kavanagh looking to force that square of the wicket, which is her area. 24 from 38. Nice for just to see, could she increase that strike rate a bit. She looks despairingly down at Paul Reynolds, who is unmoved. Probably just inside the blue line. Not happy, Shauna Kavanagh.
It's very good work. Good footwork there.
Now, the interesting thing is, Laura Moritz placed her foot in there. No slide of the bat.
We have the replay here.
Here we go. You tell me your thoughts, Harold.
No, it's closer than you think, I reckon. Definitely closer than you think.
Well, you played in a game in Holland where I saw one of the most village things I've ever seen. Zafikar was his name, was it?
Zulfikar, yeah.
Zulfikar was run out.
It didn't slide his bat.
Didn't
Yeah,
slide his
I
bat. No,
remember
he
that
went,
now.
He
Yeah.
jumped.
No, I think he did his hamstring in the process.
Oh, did he?
The technical badger within me would love to see Shauna just hold her shoulders slightly more aligned when she's driving outside the off stump. I think if she did that, she'd be a lot more consistent in her strike. Just played down to short third man from one there. Lara Moritz, she's been very good at that today. Just dropping and running, getting off strike.
99 for 3 now. So it's 14 required from the remaining 18 deliveries.
Laura Delaney into her last over here. See if the captain has a little bit of magic up her sleeve. Change this game. You just never know. The Scorchers just want to be careful that this doesn't get down to the last over here.
Absolutely. You certainly want to be doing it in these 2 overs. Absolutely right, Harry. Don't leave it till the last over. Oh dear, and that's a very difficult piece of fielding, and there's going to be an easy 2 here, really. And that's sloppy at best. From Cecilia Joyce. Extraordinary result for her club, beaten by Cork Harlequins.
It's a big result for Cork Harlequins.
Huge result.
They're a great club, Cork Harlequins, as well. They've worked very hard at their cricket.
Massive boost for them down there.
Sealed with a 6 from Senan Jones. Former YMer, it's great to hear. And there's no better club. They're a great club, great people down there in Cork Harlequins.
We had a winter tour, well, should I say an April tour down
Felt
there.
like a winter tour.
It was comfortably the coldest weekend I've ever witnessed playing cricket. But we were treated royally. The fire was on inside. A couple of light Chardonnays with Father Ted. And one man who'll be incredibly happy tonight will be Father Ted.
Lulu Little's been very good out in that boundary all day.
She's got a very good flat arm. She's thrown that in flat from 40 metres, Harry, which is very impressive. She's had a great day in the field out there, Lulu Little.
They're all very natural athletes, the Littles.
Oh. Has to be a run there, surely, Harold.
Where's this Harold come from?
Well, I call you Harold, I suppose. I'm perhaps the only man in Ireland to call you Harold. Of course, christened Harry.
Christened Harry. Well, that certainly should have been a single Alan.
Thank you, Harold.
That's a very good over from Laura Delaney. 3 off it, and it probably shouldn't have even been that.
Now it gets trickier. Harry.
It's a little bit squeaky. Now, just a little bit squeaky.
Indeed.
Good over here. If you're the Scorchers, are you trying to finish it in this over?
Without a doubt.
2 good blows.
Well, you certainly want one good blow.
And I see Lara Moritz has got a very good bat there. It's an SM. Lovely bit of willow.
And Shauna Kavanagh with an equally good bit of willow. The blue room at the other end.
That's a good start from Georgina Dempsey there. The pressure just building. You feel it's either going to be a boundary or a wicket now in these next couple of balls.
Well, Moritz is playing that bit more tentatively in this innings. She was so much more free-flowing the first game. And now the fun begins, and now it's going to be very interesting. So it's 10 from 10.
Only 2 hits. 2 good hits and that's game over. Shauna Kavanagh has just come down, told her to maybe just take a deep breath. We'll watch the ball. And that's really well bowled from Georgina Dempsey. Like we were talking about earlier, just that little bit of tail back into the right-hander with the slightly older ball. And she's gotten her block hole in. She changed the game, getting Gabby Lewis out. And will she get the breakthrough the Typhoons desperately need? That's well fielded by Freya Sargent, keeping that to just a single. It's now over a run of ball. 9 off 8 required. The field doesn't change. Oh, that's a very good shot. But it's really well fielded by Ava Canning.
Oh, and Mary Waldron misses. Extraordinary great piece of fielding from Ava Canning.
You don't see it on the camera, but she must have anticipated that. She had 20 yards to make. And she did it with ease. You just have to wonder why Mary Waldron wasn't slightly closer to the stumps. 7 off 7.
Not able to pierce the field here. 6 off 6. And a great finish to this game. Fantastic effort by the Typhoons to drag themselves back into this match. And who is going to have the fun of the last over?
Who's your money on here, Louis?
I think it's going to go to the last. Well, it'll obviously go to the last delivery.
Will Mary Waldron stand up to Ava Canning here?
Yes, she will. Now, I think Shauna Kavanagh is going to probably eye up. They've got. Oh no, square leg is now going out. Cleverly done, because that would be an area of profit for her.
It's an inside edge, but it's only one. Straight to short fine leg. And how often do you see those sort of runs trickle away for 4? But it's just a single, and it's 5 off 5. We're in for a thriller here in Oak Hill. Who's this?
And of course, the question marks around the commentary box, Harry Tector, are: will we have a super over?
Well,
the answer is
it's been
yes.
confirmed. There will be a super over. Both teams hoping it doesn't go to that point.
So 5 off 5.
Money on the batting team. My books. One good blow. That's game over. And it's given.
And she's gone. Moritz is gone. Mary Waldron up to the stumps, and now it's very much game on. One blow, Harry, yes. 504 deliveries.
It was a wide as well. Just got a little feather on it to Lara Moritz. And now it's anyone's game.
And they've really made a wee bit of a hash of this, the Scorchers. They were absolutely coasting. And again, a reflection of that. Moritz, 11 from 21 deliveries when she was so fluent in the first game. So where's your money now? Jenny's.
I'm still with the Scorchers, Lou.
Okay.
Back the batting side. It always comes down to one blow or a nick for 4. 4 balls, 5 runs to win. If I'm in the batting camp, I think we're getting over the line.
How gutted would you be with a nick?
Oh, well, you'd be sick. But I don't think it should have ever even gotten to this point. The Scorchers, they're making it hard work. And if they get over the line, they'll be thanking their lucky stars from here. But my money's still on them.
This is great bowling from Canning. It really is. Not easy to get away. Someone angling it in from outside off stump. You've got to get yourself offside of the ball. But this is when Harry Carey kicks in. Harry, 5 from 3. You're swinging. You're swinging.
It's mid off, and it's only the single, so it's 4 off 2 now. Shauna Kavanagh on strike.
So if the next ball is a dot, Harry, what will Shauna Kavanagh do?
Well, if the next ball is a dot, she's got to try and hit 4.
Correct.
To
But will
win.
she take a single?
This ball.
If she hasn't or doesn't believe she can get 2, what will she do? What would you do?
Well, I like the idea of backing yourself, but if she... it's an interesting one. It's a very good question. I think she takes the single and hopes her partner can get at least 2 on the next ball. Make sure you get the draw.
For the super over. Oh,
It's
she's
up in
gone
the air.
large. It's a chance. Oh, she's
it's
put it
down.
down and they're back for 2. Oh, my goodness me. That is such a significant drop. And really, when you think about it today, Harry, the Typhoons catching has let them down. But that was a dolly.
It was, but there's no easy catches at this point in the game.
Thank you, Harry.
A lot of pressure on that, but you're right, the Typhoons have let them down. They dropped Gabby Lewis twice. And have they just dropped the game there? 2 off the last ball. They're bringing cover up and mid-wicket up.
I'm not so sure about bringing mid-wicket up, Harry, because there's one place this ball is going to go, and it's going to be in that general direction.
They've moved deep square round, so now there's a short mid-wicket and a deep mid-wicket. Mid-on's coming up, so they only have one man out in the slog. And so deep mid-wicket, there's a gap behind square on the leg side.
Heatley Tector is talking about an edge for 4. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's back to the bowler. She's made it. It's a tie. Super over.
It's a tie. It's a super over. And anything can happen here. Oh, my goodness me.
Wow.
We've seen it all here today.
Oh, I think that's very close.
It's incredibly close. So super over it is. And what an extraordinary game of cricket the Scorchers will look back on this and kind of say to themselves, what have we done? How did we lose well, they haven't lost the game. How did we not win that game? Your comments, Harry Tector, please.
I think the Scorchers are lucky to even get there, to be honest. They've made an absolute, well, you can only really call it a mess. They needed 16 off 4 overs, and to let it get down to needing 4 off the last 2 balls, you'd think they'd consider themselves lucky to even still be in the game. But the beauty of a super over is the game's not over. You can still win it from here, and I think that's what Glenn Quirrell, their head coach, will be telling them. Even though they haven't batted the best those last 5 or 6 overs, they're still in the game, and the firepower in Gabby Lewis, you'd assume she'll be opening the batting.
I'd say Glenn Quirrell is spitting fire right now.
Well, he may be, but you hope he doesn't send that on to the players.
Inwardly, Harry.
Maybe after the game.
I think after the game there could be a long lecture, but it's something actually quite interestingly, because I was there in Dundee when Ireland needed 18 from 18 deliveries with 5 wickets in hand and didn't get over the line. And I think it's one of the things they're just going to have to, and again, like what you said earlier, you can't leave this to the last over. It's just not the thing to do. And again, you keep talking about blows and various different things, but there has to be the ability to get those blows. And
it was, I think, the lack of risk taking. To be honest, you have to take a little bit of a risk, and that was, I guess, the slightly disappointing thing with Lara Moritz and Shauna Kavanagh. They batted so well in the first game. I would love to have seen them take it on a little bit earlier, but they're still in the game. The game's not over, match tied, and we're going to a super over here in Oak Hill.
I like your calmness, Harry. You've got to bring your team in, you've got to galvanise them, and you've got to talk to them. But as you can see there, Moritz 11 from 21, Kavanagh 32 from 47, and in those middle overs, that spell at 88 for 3 off 15 overs, it was plain sailing. And you can just leave these things a little bit too late, and as you quite rightly say, in those overs you need a blow or two and it's game over. But it didn't happen, and you've got to give credit to the Typhoons, because in effect the game would have been over had Rebecca Stokel taken that catch.
Oh, 100%. And I think what you don't see on your match summary there is the spell of their captain Laura Delaney, and particularly her last over. She bowled 4 overs, none for 19, with her last over only going for 3. And that was a big turning point in the game, because they only needed, I think it was something like 12 off the last 3, 14 off the last 3 overs, and that over going for 12, they were going for 3, 11 off the last 2.
Well, what about Georgina Dempsey's 4 overs, 1 for 13? And we've had cries in the commentary box about Player of the Match awards. She's had a fantastic day's cricket, Georgina Dempsey. Bowled in the heat. It was fantastic. And she really, really did well. And there's the scorecard for you. Obviously dominated by Gabby Lewis, 50 from 35. A rather regular strike rate for her, but she was let off the hook twice. One unbelievable catch. It would have been by Jane Maguire at long on, but there was one to Ava Canning early on that should have been taken. But that stalling in the middle, and a period when Moritz had played so well in the first game, but she really struggled, 11 from 21 in this particular encounter. But it is a super over. It's great for the viewers watching, and they're all waiting with bated breath. And again, I'm slightly confused. I don't know whether we toss again. Harry, have you played in a match with a super over?
I have.
And is it a toss again?
No, so the opposition that I think the Scorchers will go out and bowl now. They bowled first. Scorchers bat first.
Scorchers bat first, because I'm thinking back to the World Cup final.
I'm thinking back to our one
hang on,
Noida. And we batted first and yes, yeah, you're right. Apologies for that, just getting confirmation from Gareth Delaney. If you bat first in the regular 20 overs, you will bat second in the super over.
Thank you to Gareth Delaney for that piece of wizardry. And again, when you're caught, and we also obviously got caught because 5 officials got caught in the World Cup final, of course, with Ben Stokes, the ball coming off the bat. But of course, they hadn't a cross, and really he should have been at the non-striker's end. But we won't talk about that. Nor did Kane Williamson on the day, which was extraordinarily gracious of him. But here we are. Super over it is. Is this the first over we've had in Super 2's cricket? I sense it might be. As Gabby Lewis looks to be making her way to the middle, it's a question of with whom. And it's Emma Richardson she's taking to the wicket with. So what a finale this is. All the sixes taking to the wicket. Emma Richardson with number 6, Gabby Lewis with 66.
And we need to clarify in a super over. It's regular play regulations, 4 outside the ring in this super over. And it's going to be a good finish in this Arachas Super 20 match.
And if you were Laura Delaney, who would you give the ball to?
I think Georgina Dempsey's been so impressive today. She's been the one who's looked to get her Yorkers in all day, and you know she's been oh so impressive. But you can't rule out Ava Canning either. She bowled a brilliant last over. Only having 6 runs to play with, she kept it to 5. So either of them. But it looks like Georgina Dempsey's gotten the nod, and it's a lot of responsibility to be put on her shoulders at such a young age. But she seems to be well up to the task.
And of course, the only thing I think in the super over, you can only lose 1 wicket in the super over.
You can lose 2 wickets.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Harry. I'm
2
old
wickets,
school.
2 wickets and you're done.
I didn't even know what a super over was. You finished with a tie. Thank you very much. And off you go.
So the field, fine leg, deep square leg, deep mid wicket, deep cover. Mid on, mid off. 3rd man in the ring with a point and an extra cover. Paul Reynolds just signalling the scores, and we're ready to go here.
Great excitement at the conclusion of this 4th Arachas Super Series T20, and Georgina Dempsey, who's had a fantastic day with both bat and ball, to Gabby Lewis. And that's a very good shot from Gabby Lewis, and to get that steered on the offside for 4, that has them clapping on the boundary.
That's an unbelievable shot, just wedged out. It was right up in the block hole, and she just squeezed it past point. Look at that, open the face, and it's raced away past point. What a start for the Scorchers.
Super start. Great shot from Gabby Lewis. And there needs to be more of this. Oh, that is an exquisite shot. But Jane Maguire came in, and it looks to be 6.
That's a serious shot. You can't tell on your TV screens, but that's into the wind, and the biggest boundary of the day. That's a comfortable 70-yard hit. But could Jane Maguire have caught that if she was on the rope? That's the question.
Well, I think she could have. She faithfully came in. And again, when the ball is hitting the... I thought it had gone over extra cover from the angle we're at, Harry. And again, that could be 2. And she's in. Gabby Lewis, 12 off 3 deliveries. Fantastic batting from her. But as you say, who knows? Had that ball been taken on the boundary, Typhoons will rue the chances that they've had right throughout this match.
Super overs, they can change so quickly though. Georgina Dempsey, she's got to be thinking about going bang bang, 2 wickets, and that's the super over. Just 12 off it if she can somehow manage to get Gabby Lewis and the next batter out, and that's the way she's got to be thinking here.
Oh my goodness, that's an unbelievable shot. That's down the ground for 6. Isn't it quite interesting, Harry, in terms of mindset and different things, that suddenly we've got a super over and there's been just a change of gears from Gabby Lewis?
Well, it's amazing, and I think I think that's what the Scorchers will be so upset about. You know, they've scored 18 off 4 balls, and yes, they've been incredible shots, but it does show you, if you look to hit the ball and take a bit of a risk, they needed 16 off the last 4 overs. They've scored 18 and 4 balls.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And again, just that level of intent to take risk. Fantastic batting from Gabby Lewis. That was a magnificent shot.
So 19 of the first 5 balls of this super over. It's been unbelievable for the Scorchers. And they'll be hoping to have one more lusty blow from Emma Richardson before the over is out. You'd like to think she'll be looking at the screens here.
You have to feel a little bit for Georgina Dempsey here. She's had a fantastic day. And Gabby Lewis has shown all her class. Magnificent hitting.
Slightly unlucky there from Georgina Dempsey, just looking for that wide line, that wide hole, and just missing by a fraction at small margins at this level. But she'll learn a lot from this, Georgina Dempsey, and you never know down the line in an Ireland game or if a Arachas Super 20 game, she might be in this position again.
Absolutely. And it might also show the Scorchers, as you said, Harry, with a bit of intent and risk taking. And again, Emma Richardson going straight. And that's a fantastic set of 6 balls for the Scorchers. So it's going to be, what, 24 they got off that over. Of course, we had the wide ball as well. And a rather despondent Typhoons team leave the field. And you've got to feel a certain sympathy for Georgina Dempsey. You really do. She's had a marvellous day. And it won't colour my judgment in any shape or form as to the contribution that she's made. And there'll be no worries, she'll have learnt a lot from that. No issues at all for me.
No, she's been a big reason as to how the Typhoons have even managed to get into the super over. She's been excellent all day, particularly in this second game. But that's a serious super over from the Scorchers there. Some brilliant hitting through the offside from Gabby Lewis, and you'd think the Scorchers would be pretty confident of defending this now, Alan.
Well, if they don't defend this, there'll be pandemonium in the camp. I just can't see how they wouldn't defend this, but it's great for us all to have that little level of excitement. It was all happening out there, and it's a reason in this short format of the game why we enjoy it so much. We don't get that many of these types of tight or close finishes, but we certainly have today. And it's been a wonderful day down here in Oak Hill. Gorgeous weather, beautiful ground. Ideal for this series, playing it down here.
So who's going to bowl the over for the Scorchers then? And will they go to Leopold, their most consistent bowler over the day? Or do
Yes. Or will it be Laura Moritz or Ashley King? That will be the decision for Gabby Lewis and Glenn Quirrell. The think tank is there, pads are off, ready to go. So, or indeed Emma Richardson.
Well, Shauna Kavanagh's got her helmet on, which would indicate that it's not going to be one of Lara Moritz or Ashley King.
That's true, Harry. Very observant of you. You've been very observant today on a lot of things.
Well, it's in the small details, Alan.
Small print.
Small print.
Small print. It's what makes it enjoyable for us as watchers. You're absolutely right. I sense. Let's see. Who's your money on? Leopold?
Leopold.
Leopold.
Leopold for me.
Okay. I won't argue with that.
She's been both the Scorchers and arguably Ireland's best and most consistent bowler this year. And do you think they might entrust her with the final over? You think for the Typhoons, Rebecca Stoker will be opening the batting?
without a
maybe
shadow of a doubt.
Lulu Little, potentially.
Oh, yes, indeed, Georgina Dempsey. So here we go. You were right. Leah Paul it is. To Rebecca Stokel.
How come they're not bowling it from the same end?
I presume that would be a choice, would it not? A little bit like penalties in football. You toss the coin, you have choice of ends. So much has happened
I was of
here.
the opinion that if you bowl the super over for both teams from the same end. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, well, it's all been happening here today, Harry. No doubt about that. As Leah Paul brings a fantastic day's cricket to a conclusion. Rebecca Stokel on.
Hit firmly out into the leg side, but only for one. They're going to need a little bit more than that, the Typhoons.
Skipper's going out to deep point now, from long on to deep point. It's all happening out here. It's very good bowling from Leah Paul. Pace off. And really, there has to be a couple of bombs here now from Rebecca Stokel, and a packed leg side field from Gabby Lewis. No surprise there. 4 in, saving 1 on the offside.
And that's why she was entrusted to bowl this over. For reasons like that, she doesn't miss Leopold, and that's beautifully bowled. She's got Rebecca Stokel twice now in this game, and that was beautifully bowled. Just a little bit flatter, push through, not much spin, and again, you miss, I hit. Lovely bowling from Leopold.
Excellent bowling indeed, Harry, from Leopold, and it brings Georgina Dempsey to the crease, and quite rightly so. She's had an excellent day with both bat and ball, obviously on the receiving end in the super over from a Gabby Lewis onslaught, but she's had a super day. So 3 balls left, and really, as long as Leah Paul stays behind the front line, just can't see the Typhoons getting over the line here. Or bowling it outside the wide line. That's going to be out as well, it seems. Yes, indeed it is.
And that's the game, unfortunately, for the Typhoons. They did so well to get it to a super over, but you think they'll be ruined their chances in the second innings. Couple drop catches cost them, unfortunately, but the Scorchers will be delighted. They made it hard for themselves, but they got over the line in the end thanks to some fireworks from Gabby Lewis and then Emer Richardson.
Yeah, fantastic display in the super over, but as you say, Harry, the game was lost in regular time, really, and a fantastic clawback from the Typhoons to get it to the point of even a super over, but they'll rue their chances surely, and they'll be desperately disappointed. But the Scorchers will feel they've got out of jail there, there's no doubt about that. And a wonderful conclusion to a beautiful day down in the beautiful Oak Hill, finishing in sunshine. Started a bit gloomy, but it is really a fantastic venue to play cricket. Paul Reynolds and Steve Wood bring all the equipment up after a fantastic day's cricket. The conclusion is that the Scorchers have won this match by 21 runs. Fabulous day's cricket. Thanks to everyone from HBV Studios, our production team today, and everyone associated with this wonderful game in the Arachas Super 20. Wonderful day's cricket.
And so that concludes the second Arachas Super 50, Super 20 match of the day. The Scorchers winning by 21 runs in the Super over. Gabby Lewis, Pyrotechnics, heading over there. You can see in the bottom of your screen for the post-match interview. And Gareth, it was a great game.
Yeah, very exciting finish there in the end. I'd say the Typhoons will probably be, as you were saying, they ruined their chances there. Very good chance to win in normal time, and then Gabby Lewis just won the game in the super over, batted brilliantly, 2 sixes, and ably supported by Emer Richardson.
Yeah, it was a great game. Both teams making it difficult for themselves, but as we head down to the post-match interview, Alan Lewis is with the man of the match, player of the match.
Welcome to the Player of the Match ceremony in the Arachas Super 20 match down here in Oak Hill. The fourth of the series, which was won in dramatic style by the Scorchers. And I'm here with the Player of the Match, Gabby Lewis. Well, you made that difficult for yourselves.
Yes, we did. Look, we bowled well and we fielded well. We back ourselves to chase 112. I think we made the pitch look slightly worse than what it is. I think we just faced too many dot balls and that got us into a bit of trouble. But look, fair play to the girls for sticking it out. Bit of grit shown out there, and look, we've come out on top, so I can't complain.
Well, it was a bit lucky in the end because the Typhoons really, with some indifferent fielding, catches on the boundary, 2 chances for yourself. Obviously, that one at the end for Shauna Kavanagh, probably lucky to get out of jail.
Yeah, exactly. At the higher quality of games that we'll be playing in the qualifiers, you can't afford to give those chances. So that's something that we'll work on going forward. And look, we've got 2 weeks now ahead of the qualifiers to really put the foot down on the accelerator and hopefully build ourselves up until that tournament.
And what about this intent in the Super over?
Yeah, look, all I just wanted to do is hit as straight as I can. They kind of set a square field, so just trying to avoid those 4 fielders. And look, run hard. I think sometimes you go for higher totals, and actually, like, if you get over, run a ball, I think, because people think that you have to go hard at every ball. So, look, fair play to our bowling team and our fielding team for getting us there. So, yeah.
And a wee bit tough on Georgina Dempsey, who had a fantastic day.
Yeah, she did. She batted very well. She's a young talent, which is going to be really good for us for the future of Irish cricket. And look, it's fair play to her for coming out and batted the way she did at her age. Hats off to her, and she did brilliant.
Well done, Gabby Lewis, on your Player of the Match award after a wonderful day's cricket, which we all enjoyed. Thank you very much. And that concludes the Player of the Match ceremony on a really exciting super over victory for the Scorchers in the 4th of the Arachas T20 series. And it's goodbye from us here at Oak Hill.
So I really enjoyed it. It was something that I found quite naturally easy to play. It wasn't something I struggled to play from a young age.
I just think getting involved at a really young age it's great fun. You get to meet so many different people, and
if I could go back, I wouldn't do anything differently. I got into it at a young age. I'd probably encourage more of my friends to get into it when I was younger.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy coaching young kids and seeing them do well as well.
I loved it from an early age when I was 6 or 7, and that's all I did in the summer. It's all I wanted to do in the winter.
Come down, meet new people, enjoy yourself and try new sport.
Get around 11 of your friends, boys or girls, you know, it's a nice inclusive sport, and you can really just have a lot of fun.
It brings the whole family down on Saturday or Sunday.
I think this is a great way to get out and about and get real social.
Once you get the hook for cricket, you just get sucked in.
Check out Smash It
and give cricket a go
At your local club.
If I was the parent of any young girl, I would say to you, absolutely get them down. There's loads and loads of things to do. It gives an opportunity to have fun with your friends, but you're also developing some really, really good skills.
You don't have to be the fastest or the tallest or the strongest, and there's sort of a role that everyone can play in cricket.
I think at the end of the day, it's the friendships that you make that is just so important.
Cricket's a really social sport. You get to meet loads of new people.
There's so many different things you can do with it, and it's just really good to get the kids out and having a good time.
I'd say just get down to the club, see if you like it, and hopefully make some friends.
I think it's just an opportunity to get the kids out and active. It's a sport that's very enjoyable.
Just get them down to the local clubs, get started. You never know, you might enjoy it. With new families getting into it, they might be sort of scared off thinking, oh, we don't really know much about it and there's lots of rules. Actually, it's just great fun, hitting balls and running around.
Check out It's Wicket
and give cricket a go
At your local club.